Chapter 919, Chaotic Realm, Origin Continent. F*CKU. You didn't equip Ben Shao with a parachute. High in the sky, Wang Kai's body fell rapidly, breaking through the clouds. Enduring the strong wind, he looked down at the small world below. For a moment, his heart was pounding. If he were to fall from such a terrifying height, would he still be able to survive? What was more infuriating was that he couldn't use his cultivation and couldn't stop his fall. Congratulations to the host for successfully reaching the chaotic realm. The system has been updated in advance. Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining the chaotic bragging system. You have successfully transformed into a chaotic martial artist and reached rank 1 chaotic martial disciple. Host, Wang Kai occupation, chaotic martial artist realm. Chaotic martial disciple rank 1 cultivation method. None martial technique. None equipment. None bragging points. 0 experience. 01000 host. The system has detected that your life is in danger. If you don't stop it in time, you will fall and become minced meat. Host, do you allow the system to stop it? Hearing the system notification, Wang Kai almost went crazy on the spot. Looking down at the small scenery below, he couldn't see clearly. At such a height, falling at such a speed, it would be difficult to survive even if he wanted to. Thinking of this, he didn't even have time to think about what the updated chaotic bragging system was. He immediately roared, "Stop it now. Host, I'm sorry. Your bragging points are not enough and can't be stopped." F*CKU. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai was so angry that he cursed. Wasn't the system playing with him? Host, I'm sorry. No matter who you F*CK, without bragging points, you can't get the protection of a system function. I can even argue with Ben Shao. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai was stunned. He had to admit that the updated system was completely different from before. In the past, it was just mechanical. Everything had to be ordered or allowed by him. But now it was arguing with him. Ben Shao is the most powerful man in the world. He is omnipotent. Men, women, old, and young all submit to him. If you push Ben Shao too far, he can even poke an old lady. Wang Kai had no choice but to open his mouth and blow loudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the second stage of chaotic martial disciple. Host, Wang Kai occupation, chaotic warrior realm. Chaotic martial disciple, second stage, cultivation method. None martial skills. None equipment. None bragging points. 10 experience. 01000. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. He suddenly had a feeling of returning to the past. However, he did not know why, but there was an inexplicable feeling of excitement in his heart. Hurry up and stop this young master from moving. Host, I'm sorry. You don't have enough bragging points to stop a chaotic martial saint's chaotic force. You have to work harder. You're still as weak as an ant. Swoosh. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed. A chaotic martial saint. Taoist Hong Chun from the Thundercloud Sea was not a chaotic martial master, but a chaotic martial saint? Chaotic martial saint. How many realms were higher than a chaotic martial master? F*CKU. After the update, you've become much more powerful and smarter. Not only do you dare to talk back to Ben Shao, you even dare to humiliate Ben Shao. Do you know that before you updated, Ben Shao could easily kill you with a breath? Wang Kai's face darkened as he scolded harshly. Host, I'm very sorry. Because your words this time have already attacked the system, there'll be no reward. If you dare to attack the system again, you'll be punished according to the severity of your bragging points and experience. Swoosh. As his voice faded, Wang Kai was already dumbfounded. He even forgot that his body was already infinitely close to the ground. There was no reward for bragging just now. Moreover, the system had given him a warning. If he scolded the system again, not only would there be no reward, there would also be a deduction of bragging points and experience points. Wouldn't that mean that he could drop his realms at any time, or that his bragging points would be reduced? F*CK. Look, what's that in the sky? Are you F*King blind? Isn't that a person? He can fly. Fly my asterisk SS? He obviously fell. Bullsh asterisk T. We're on a plane with no mountains. Where did he fall from? I want to know too. As the exclamations entered his ears, Wang Kai came back to his senses. He looked up and saw that he had fallen into the sky above a huge city. F asterisk CK. What the F asterisk CK? He wants to smash us and cut the queue. F asterisk CK. We've been waiting here for a month. We've been eating and drinking here. He wants to cut the queue? He's asking for it. Kill him for me. Stab him. Stab him. Swoosh. Swoosh. In front of a martial arts dojo, there were dozens of young men and women in ordinary clothes lined up. When they saw Wang Kai fall from the sky and land right where they were standing, they immediately scolded him angrily. Long swords, long spears, large sabers, and so on were all thrown towards the sky with all their might. Cut the F asterisk CK in line. Seeing dozens of weapons piercing towards him, Wang Kai's face darkened. He was unable to block them. Destroy all the weapons. Helpless, Wang Kai could only grit his teeth and hope to communicate with the system. Congratulations to the host for successfully destroying all the weapons. A total of 10 bragging points have been consumed. Buzz. Crack. Bang, bang, bang. Following the disappearance of the system notifications, the weapons that were attacking him were all reduced to ashes and disappeared from the world. Such a scene instantly caused the dozens of young men and women below to be dumbstruck, and they even forgot to dodge. Bang! Rumble! Suddenly, Wang Kai's body fell heavily into the crowd. After a buzzing sound, a huge pit was formed in the ground. However, Wang Kai, who was in the huge pit, did not suffer any injuries. Below him, there was a stream of green primal chaos energy that was supporting his body. Did Taoist Hong Chen expect this to happen? He attacked Ben Shao and forcibly brought Ben Shao to the chaotic realm. He also chose to do it during the system update period. Could it be that the protection of the Master of Chaos was the system? He just did not know that it was the system. Wang Kai, who was in the deep pit, frowned and thought to himself. He didn't notice at all that there were 2 people lying under the green light. However, those 2 people were no longer considered human at this moment. They had been smashed and crushed into pieces of flesh and bones. Congratulations to the host for killing 2 grade 9 chaotic martial disciples. A total of 16,000 experience points have been earned. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to grade 4 chaotic martial master. Host, Wang Kai occupation, chaotic martial artist realm. Grade 4 chaotic martial master cultivation method. None martial technique. None equipment. None bragging points. 0 experience. 02000. Chapter 920. Princess, hurry up and go. This servant will keep watch here. Just as Wang Kai was thinking of a way to leave, an extremely soft voice suddenly sounded beside his ear. The tone was low and filled with caution. Princess, keep watch. Wang Kai's eyebrows slightly furrowed. He could not help but turn around and slowly stick out his head. Only half of his face was revealed as he used one eye to look over. However, with this look, Wang Kai was immediately dumbfounded. He saw that in the depths of the rockery, there was a beautiful lady wearing a golden dress. She was currently staring with her extremely ethereal beautiful eyes as she tiptoed over like a thief. After sweeping her gaze over the surroundings, she slowly squatted down. As she bent down, she slowly took off her golden trousers. The white and beautiful scenery was instantly exposed to the air. Within it, the cleavage was clearly visible. It's perky enough, perky enough. The color is not bad. The shape is also very... Who is it? Just as Wang Kai could not help but softly exclaim in admiration, the beautiful lady directly lifted up her trousers, suddenly turned around and gave a thunderous shout. Fuck! Such a sudden shout also caused Wang Kai's heart to involuntarily jump in fright. His eyes had already met with the beautiful eyes of the lady. It was only now that Wang Kai was able to clearly see her face. An oval face, picturesque features, a small cherry mouth, a cinnabar between her eyebrows, especially the golden earrings on her sparkling and translucent little ears, coupled with a noble golden robe and exquisite figure. It was simply created to be extraordinary and perfect. However, although this lady's appearance was beautiful, there was a mischievous aura. Furthermore, she was not very old, only 17 or 18 years old. Bastard, you are. The lady in the golden dress frowned, her face filled with shame and anger. She raised her slender arm and pointed at Wang Kai. Her red lips parted as she was about to angrily rebuke him. However, before she could finish speaking, Wang Kai had already taken the initiative to strike first. TSK, little girl, you're so bold, so shameless, and so rude. You actually dared to do such a dirty thing in broad daylight, in front of such a beautiful and admirable rockery. You also completely treated Ben Xiao as heir. Now that you've discovered Ben Xiao, you actually want to punish him first? Ben Xiao has never seen such a shameless, such a shameless girl like you. You, damn you, I'll kill you. Wang. Suddenly, the woman in the golden dress had a frosty look on her face. Her eyes were spitting fire as she flipped her jade-like hand. Streaks of cyan chaotic force gathered and slapped out ferociously. Bang, 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 bang. Rumble. In an instant, under the attack of the woman in the golden dress, the fake mountain was destroyed in an instant. The mountain rocks shattered and flew up. Even Wang Kai did not have the slightest ability to block it. He was directly sent flying while vomiting blood. He fell heavily into a pile of rubble and was buried under it. 9th grade chaotic martial master. Cough, cough, this little girl is actually so awesome. Look at her. She's only 17 or 18 years old. She's actually a 9th grade chaotic martial master. She's 4 grades higher than Ben Xiao. Wang Kai, who was under the rubble, used his hands to push away the rubble. He sat in the rubble and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His face was full of misfortune. He was really aggrieved. It was the girl who had taken the initiative to come in to relieve herself. He had been behind the fake mountain for a long time and had no intention of peeping at her. In the end, he had been treated as a thief and was even beaten up. It was really infuriating. What's wrong? What happened? Who's fighting here? Princess? Along with the exclamations and messy footsteps, 100 men and women in cyan martial robes quickly walked over. Everyone was a little stunned as they looked at the golden-dressed lady who was clenching her fists, pursing her red lips, and frowning her eyebrows. Her pretty face was filled with anger as she looked at the rock garden that had already been flattened. Princess, are you okay? What's going on? Aren't you going to? Shut up, you damned girl. As a maid in a cyan dress quickly ran over to greet her, the princess in the golden dress hurriedly blushed and shouted in a low voice. At the same time, the princess in the golden dress also noticed the gathered disciples of the martial arts club. She glanced at the crushed fake mountain, especially the man in the pile of rubble who was still breathing. Her heart was filled with anger. Just now, in a moment of desperation and anger, she did not think about the consequences. As a result, the commotion was too big and attracted the disciples of the martial arts club. What made the princess in the golden dress even more unbearable was that the man was actually not dead. Furthermore, sensing his aura, he was very good. There was no sign of him dying at all. If he stood up and revealed that he had seen her urinating, the princess in the golden dress did not dare to imagine the consequences. Thinking of this, there was no longer any anger. Only panic was left. Third princess, what happened just now? Did someone want to kill you? As a middle-aged, scholarly man walked out of the crowd, the surrounding disciples quickly lowered their heads and retreated. Their faces were solemn and filled with respect. Among them, there were many female disciples who were mesmerized by the middle-aged, scholarly man's temperament and handsome appearance. They almost screamed. No, nothing. I'm sorry for startling you, Master One. The princess in the golden dress hurriedly replied. Her tone was flustered and her beautiful eyes flickered. Her jade-like hands were tightly clenched together. Looking at her appearance, Even a fool could tell that something was wrong. She was just unwilling to say it out loud. Third princess, don't worry. No matter who it is, as long as they enter the Battle Monarch Martial Arts Club, they won't be able to harm a single hair on your body. You don't have to worry about anything. The scholarly middle-aged man with the surname stepped forward. As he spoke, a cold light flickered in his eyes as he stared at the pile of rubble where Wang Kai was. No, I'm really fine. Master Wen, don't worry. I'm fine. The princess in the golden dress became even more anxious when she saw this. She hurriedly ran to the pile of rubble and stood there without moving. She was afraid that Master Wen would discover Wang Kai. When that happened, the news of her urinating behind the fake mountain would definitely spread. When that happened, it would really be embarrassing. Bullshit. You're fine, but I'm not. Whoosh. Suddenly, while the crowd was puzzled, Wang Kai roared and stood up. He kicked the pile of rubble into pieces. His originally handsome face was now pitch black. His hair was disheveled, and his entire body was covered in filth. This caused his white robe to look no different from his black robe at that moment. Why don't you shut up? When I sparred with you just now, you lost because you weren't good enough. Next time, if you're not good enough, don't ever ask to spar with me again. Do you understand? The princess in the golden dress' beautiful eyes flashed, and she hurriedly turned around. When the crowd couldn't see her expression, she glared at Wang Kai with her ethereal eyes. As she spoke, she placed heavy emphasis on the words princess. Chapter 9:21. Damn it. Was she starting to threaten him? Hearing her words, how could he not know what she meant? Wang Kai frowned and secretly glanced at the gathered martial arts club disciples. Finally, his eyes fixed on the middle-aged, elegant man. At first glance, his pupils shrank slightly. Unlike the other disciples, even though they were all chaotic-level martialists, Lin Fan could still see the cultivation realms of the disciples. The most powerful ones were chaotic martial masters, and most of them were chaotic martial disciples. However, the middle-aged man's aura was not obvious. Lin Fan felt as if he had entered a deep, bottomless ocean. It was terrifying. Although he could use the system to see the man's cultivation realm, Wang Kai felt that there was no need for that. Even if he could see the man's cultivation realm, he would not be able to defeat him. Thinking of this, Wang Kai bent down and patted the dust off his body. He turned to the third princess and cupped his hands in respect. His expression pretended to be vexed as he said, "Third princess is extremely right. It is all because of this one's lack of skill, yet I insisted on fighting you." This angered the third princess and caused such a big commotion. It's good that you know. Follow me back to the palace and clean yourself up. Tomorrow, I will bring you to the Battle Monarch Martial Arts Club, the third princess said flatly. Return to the palace? Clean himself up? Join the Battle Monarch Martial Arts Club tomorrow? When he heard this, Wang Kai's mouth twitched violently. What she said sounded nice. Once he returned to the palace, he would not be cleansed but purged. As for joining the Battle Monarch Martial Arts Club, as the princess, she could leave it as it was. When that happened, no one would dare to interfere with a princess's private affairs. It's good that you are fine. Master Wen nodded his head and smiled. He held the book in his hand and slowly walked away. On the way, he seemed to inadvertently glance at Wang Kai. A cold light flashed across his eyes. In response, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly as he grinned, but he didn't respond. After all this fuss, this man is actually the third princess follower. F***CK. A mere follower dares to fight with the third princess? He really doesn't know his place. Sigh. Who asked the third princess to be so amiable? If it was the second princess? Cough, cough. All right, stop blabbering. Let's disperse. At the same time, many dojo disciples also waved their hands, shook their heads, and left one after another. Stop right there. I told you to follow me back to the palace. Where do you want to go? Just as Wang Kai was about to take the opportunity to leave, the third princess glared at him and opened her red lips. Princess, who is he? We didn't bring anyone with us when we came. I've never seen them before. Chow, you wretched girl. Let's talk when we return to the palace. Don't talk too much. You're going to get me killed." Before the servant girl in green could finish speaking, the third princess hurriedly stepped forward and covered her mouth with her hand. She only released her after she saw the servant girl nod quietly. "Who wants to go back to the palace with you? Do you want the handsome Ben Shao to take responsibility for you? Let me tell you frankly, stop dreaming. There are at least 8,000 girls who like Ben Shao. This doesn't include the number of princesses." Wang Kai shrugged and smiled disdainfully. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching grade 6 chaotic martial master." What kind of joke was this? If he really went back to the so-called palace with her, wouldn't he be doomed to die? In the Battle King Martial Arts Club, he might be able to use the princess's identity to sneak out. This was the main reason why Wang Kai went along with her words. However, if he entered the palace, who would he rely on? In the end, wouldn't he be fooled by the princess? If she wanted to kill him, there wouldn't be anyone to reason with. I didn't expect a despicable person like you to be so good at bragging. However, no matter how you try to avoid it, you won't be able to change my mind. If you don't want to follow me back to the palace, you can wait in the Battle King Martial Arts Club for Master when to punish you." The third princess snorted coldly with her hands behind her back. "Master One, punish me." When he heard this, Wang Kai frowned slightly and stared at the princess. He had to admit that she was very smart. She had clearly captured Master Wen's murderous intent. Indeed, if it didn't leave the Battle King Martial Arts Club as soon as possible, Master Wen would definitely come looking for him. However, even if he wanted to leave, he couldn't leave with her. Wouldn't he still die in the palace? Damn it, isn't this young master just a little handsome and has an outstanding temperament? As for wanting to kill Ben Shao the moment he saw Ben Shao, he's just King jealous. The more Wang Kai thought about it, the angrier he felt. He was speechless at Master Wen's murderous intent. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Puffed. However, when the third princess heard Wang Kai's angry words, she couldn't help but cover her mouth and giggle. Her laughter could be said to be a beautiful flower. "What are you laughing at? Can't you pee now? You're a princess, yet you don't want to go to the latrine. Instead, you have to pee behind this rock garden. Aren't you ashamed?" Wang Kai frowned and sneered with disdain. Whoosh! As soon as these words were spoken, the third princess' beautiful face suddenly froze. Her legs also subconsciously tightened as her beautiful eyes glared at Wang Kai. For a moment, she was speechless. "Ah, princess, you..." The servant girl Qiao was shocked when she heard this. She covered her mouth and was also speechless. According to Wang Kai's analysis, didn't he see the princess when she was peeing? Bastard. If it weren't for the fact that all the toilets in the dojo were occupied, this princess wouldn't. "You wait. Shower, look after him. If he runs away, I'll hold you responsible." Halfway through her words, the third princess quickly bent down and ran away while biting her red lips. Quickly keep a lookout for your princess. Don't wait and let others see you. Wang Kai shrugged and waved his hand playfully. When he finished speaking, he turned around and was about to leave. "Wait, stop right there." The princess said not to let you leave. "Stop right there. Aya, how can you be like this? Stop right there." No matter how Qiao shouted, Wang Kai had no intention of stopping. Left with no choice, Qiao could only bite her red lips and follow him from behind. "Qiao, who is this guy? Why is the third princess sparring with him? He's obviously not a good person. Although the third princess is mischievous, she would never accept a sparring match. It must be this guy who is shameless and begging the third princess." That's right, the third princess is kind and couldn't bear to reject him. That's why she sparred with him. Suddenly, as 3 cold voices rang out, 3 azure-clothed men in their 20s appeared before Wang Kai and Qiao. Chapter 922. He is... Aya, wait for me. Qiao was just about to reply when she saw that Wang Kai did not pay any attention to her as he quickly walked forward. Immediately, She did not say anything more to the three young men as she hurriedly followed behind him. Swoosh! However, Wang Kai's attitude of disregard, and he did not even glance at them. Such an arrogant action caused the three young men to furrow their brows and glare coldly. Bastard, you are just a servant. How dare you be so arrogant? Stop right there. Buzz. Suddenly, the three young men bellowed out furiously. They turned around and attacked from behind. As strands of azure chaotic force gathered, the three of them threw 3 punches at Wang Kai's back. Bang! Bang bang! However, even though the attack was caught off guard, it was unable to harm Wang Kai in the slightest. The latter easily dodged the attack, causing the 3 punches to smash into the air, causing the air to explode with sound. I didn't expect you to have some skills. The 3 young men received the gifts and looked at each other. All of them were a little shocked. But before he could finish his sentence, he thought that the king would pay attention to them. But he left again. He still did not look at them. He did not even show any expression. Damn bastard. How dare you? The 3 young men were infuriated. As disciples of the martial club of the Chaos Martial Master level, they were also the direct descendants of the 4 aristocratic families. But now, he was being ignored by a mere servant, and multiple times at that. Kill him. But the princess, he is just a servant. We are the direct descendants of the 4 great clans. We'll be fine. Ow. All right. The 3 young men were livid. They stared at Wang Kai from behind with ferocious expressions. Green, chaotic energy circulated around their bodies. The power was terrifying. It was obvious that they had used all their strength. Stop right there. However, just as the 3 young men were about to attack, the 3rd princess, who was wearing a golden dress and had just finished urinating, quickly caught up with them. Third princess, seeing this, the 3 young men hurriedly stopped and bowed to the 3rd princess in greeting. However, the 3rd princess, who was angry at Wang Kai for leaving without permission, did not see them at all. She leaped past them and directly caught up with Wang Kai in front of her. Once again, they were ignored. Furthermore, it was the 3rd princess whom they admired. Such a thing caused the hearts of the 3 young men to suffer a blow. When he looked at Wang Kai again, his eyes were filled with intense hatred and killing intent. In their opinion, all of this was caused by Wang Kai. Do you have to be so annoying? Just now, there were 3 idiots circling around Ben Shao like flies. I just got rid of them, and here you are again. Wang Kai frowned, stopped in his tracks, and said rather unhappily, 3 idiots? When these words were spoken, the 3rd princess and Xiao were both stunned. The 3 youths in the distance were even more stunned. For a moment, they were unable to return to their senses. Which 3 idiots? Cough, cough, poo, poo, poo. The 3rd princess asked subconsciously, but before she could finish her sentence, she hurriedly changed her question and looked at the 3 young men behind her. Yes, it's these 3 idiots. They begged Ben Shao to teach them how to pick up girls. They said that they wanted to pursue you. They wanted to have a physical battle with you on the streets, or even behind a rockery, or anywhere else. It means to consummate the marriage. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said rather helplessly, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to become a grade 7 chaotic martial master. Whoosh! Hearing these words, the 3rd princess was instantly enraged. Her face turned red and her beautiful eyes widened in anger. Bastards! You 3 idiots! Are you tired of living? The 3rd princess's angry words stunned the 3 youths in the distance. They never thought that the kind-hearted and mischievous 3rd princess, who had never cursed before, would actually curse out loud. This feeling of dissonance even made them forget Wang Kai's crime of maliciously distorting the truth. Forget it. What's the point of competing with 3 idiots? Calm down. Let's go. Ben Shao will return to the palace with you. When the time comes, we will have a long talk. Ben Shao will agree to anything you say. Even if you ask Ben Shao to do 10,000 poses, Ben Shao will satisfy you. Who asked you to be so in love with Ben Shao? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points." Whoosh! As his voice fell, Wang Kai grabbed the third princess, who was glaring at him, by the shoulder and led her to the entrance of the dojo. "What are you glaring at? If you dare to resist or refuse, Ben Shao will tell everyone about you peeing behind the fake mountain at any time." Wang Kai sneered in a low voice. Upon hearing these words, the third princess could only endure even if she wanted to rage. She tightly clenched her silver teeth, pursing her red lips until they turned purple. Her delicate body trembled as she passively allowed Wang Kai to pull her into his embrace, her heart filled with boundless anger. "Damn it! Let's see how impudent you can be once we reach the palace." The third princess frowned as she sneered coldly in her heart. However, in the eyes of the three young men in the distance, such a scene caused their eyes to become lifeless and their faces to become weak. They never imagined that the third princess would be hugged by a servant. Moreover, she did not show any signs of anger. Even though the servant had molested her, she did not show any reaction. The three youths felt as if their bodies had been hollowed out. "If you don't want to die a horrible death, you better remove your dirty hands after we leave the dojo. Otherwise, even if I want to protect you, it will be in vain." When they were about to reach the entrance of the dojo, the third princess moved her red lips and warned in a low voice. When he heard this, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and withdrew his arm without hesitation. What he had done just now was to thoroughly defeat the three fools. After all, sometimes there was no need to use force to defeat the enemy 100 times over. "Do you think Ben Shao is willing to touch you? Looking at your age, you're only 17 or 18 years old. If you want a butt, you don't have one. If you want a chest, you don't have one." With your looks and suave demeanor, Ben Shao, who is known as the most outstanding person in history, has never been in my eyes. Wang Kai curled his lips and said disdainfully, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching grade 8 chaotic martial master." When he heard the notification, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly. He was only one grade away from being rid of the princess. Damn it! No matter what he says now, I can't care. Only when I return to the palace will I let him know what pain is. The third princess narrowed her beautiful eyes and warned herself coldly. Her eyes were filled with coldness. Chapter 923. But even if the third princess was dreaming, would Wang Kai give her the chance to get her revenge? Of course not. "Third princess, do you know who is the most handsome, the most talented, and the most talented person in Warlord City?" Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and stopped in front of the dojo. Whoosh! Hearing those words, the third princess tightly clenched her silver teeth. She forcefully suppressed her anger and stopped walking. Frowning, she fiercely asked, "Do you want me to ask who it is and then tell me it's you?" "Of course it's Ben Shao." Not bad. Looks like you've already discovered Ben Shao's abilities and predicted his future." "It is indeed Ben Shao. Only Ben Shao deserves such potential." Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Are you satisfied with your bragging now? Follow me back to the palace?" The third princess clenched her fists tightly. If she could, she really wanted to kill Wang Kai on the spot. His motive had clearly been exposed by her, but he could still brag in another way. How despicable. Heavens, isn't that the kid who just went in? Who's next to him? Am I blind? That's the third princess. Third princess. F***CK. Is he really the prince consort? And he's the prince consort of the youngest third princess? Oomph. I already knew about this. I didn't tell you because I wanted to see your shocked faces. Oh, and didn't you say that if he doesn't die, you'll be the first to kill him when he comes out? You can attack now. F***CKU. Do you know what's wrong with you? Scram. In an instant, the dozens of young men and women in the queue saw Wang Kai and the third princess standing in front of the dojo. Instantly, there was a hubbub of voices and cries of surprise. You said you're my husband? The prince consort of the warlord royal family? However, when these words entered the ears of the third princess, she almost went crazy on the spot. She did her best to suppress her anger as she gritted her teeth and asked in a deep voice, "Yes, have you forgotten that a year ago, you pursued Bin Xiao to your heart's content? At that time, Bin Xiao didn't agree because you weren't 18 yet. Now that you've just turned 18, Bin Xiao and you've already pledged your life to each other. It's no secret. My princess, do you have to be so shy? Moi." As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai lowered his head and kissed the side of Jun Wuxia's face under the shocked gazes of the crowd. He even kissed her on the cheek before he let go. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. The reward is 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th stage of Chaotic Martial Master. Host, Wang Kai Occupation, Chaotic Warrior Realm. Chaotic Martial Master, 9th grade, Cultivation Technique. None martial skills, none equipment, none bragging points, experience. 03000. My experience points have increased by another 1,000? Well, it doesn't matter. Wang Kai casually glanced at it and activated his mind to close it. He didn't notice the third princess, who was standing beside him, stunned. At that moment, the third princess was dumbfounded. Her eyes were blank and her mind was blank. She didn't have the ability to think, and it was as if she had lost her mind. She was stunned by Wang Kai's sudden kiss, especially when he said, "My princess, moi, you're still very young." When Wang Kai saw this, he grinned. After reaching grade 9 Chaotic Martial Master, he didn't have to be afraid of the third princess. Even if they fought, he could easily defeat her. After all, the combat power of the system had always been the best among those of the same level. Swoosh! As his voice faded, Wang Kai's foot tapped on the ground, and his figure disappeared like a phantom. Princess he ran away. Chow! Covered her mouth and reminded her with her beautiful eyes. B asterisk starred. Issue an arrest warrant. Hurry up and issue an arrest warrant. Bring him back. If he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse. I won't let him go. When the third princess regained her senses, she wanted to search for Wang Kai's aura. However, she realized that she couldn't find any trace of him. She was so angry that she forgot to hide the fact that she had urinated and was furious. At the same time, Wang Kai, who had arrived at War King City, was in an inn. He didn't know how much trouble his kiss had caused him. "Sir, do you have any other questions? If not, I'll take my leave." In a room, a waiter bowed and asked respectfully with a smile on his face. In front of him, Wang Kai crossed his legs and sat on a chair. When he heard the waiter's words, he nodded his head and said, "No, you may leave." Sir, did you forget something?" The waiter's face stiffened and he put the cloth in his hand on his shoulder. He bent over and rubbed his hands together with a smile. He was just being polite when he said that he could leave. However, who would have thought that Wang Kai didn't care about this at all? He was already digesting what he had heard about War King City. "Oh, Bin Xiao is confused. You may leave first. After a while, Bin Xiao will give you a big gift as thanks." Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled faintly. Even if he wanted to give a tip, Wang Kai had just arrived in the chaotic realm and didn't even know what the currency was. Where could he find it? Sir, I don't ask for much," the waiter said with a troubled expression. "If I ask you to leave, then leave. If I give you a tip, it's a favor. If I don't give you a tip, it's my duty. It has always been the customers who give tips." When has a waiter like you ever asked for a tip? Leave? Wang Kai furrowed his brow and snorted in displeasure. Swoosh! When he heard this, the waiter's face turned extremely ugly. However, he could only leave with a smile. Ugh! Damn it, I don't have a single penny. I don't even know what currency is used here. This is so embarrassing. Wang Kai curled his lips and muttered to himself rather speechlessly. Arrest warrant. If anyone sees this person and reports it, they will be rewarded generously by the royal family. On the first floor of the inn, a burly soldier in armor with a solemn expression walked in. He held a wanted poster in his hand and slapped it on the counter of the inn. Behind him, there were more than a dozen soldiers in armor and holding long spears. Such a scene shocked many of the guests who were eating on the first floor of the inn. For a moment, they froze on the spot. The royal guards of the royal family personally issued an arrest warrant. My God, who is this crazy person who doesn't care about his life? He even dares to provoke the royal family. Many of the guests saw the badges on the soldiers' chests. The badges were round, and there was only one word in the middle: war. In War King City, only the royal guards of the royal family could wear such badges. Chapter 924. You've actually put a bounty on this young master's head already? And there's even a F*** portrait of him? Wang Kai, who was in his room, slowly closed the window. Naturally, he had already noticed the commotion downstairs and had seen everything that was happening with his eyes. Because of this, Wang Kai was speechless. He didn't expect the third princess of the working royal family to act so quickly. Just how much did she hate him? He had just stepped into the inn when the wanted list arrived. F***CK. The warlord royal family is so arrogant. So is the third princess. Didn't he just kiss her? In this world, countless people have begged Bin Xiao to kiss them, but none of them have the fortune to do so. You're still angry? You're simply unreasonable. Wang Kai frowned and said with a displeased expression, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Are you sure he's here? If you mistook him for someone else and delay our pursuit, you won't have a good ending. Sir, don't worry. I'm sure I'm not mistaken. The madman who dares to offend the royal family is right here in the room we just booked. It's good that you know. Quickly lead the way. Suddenly, two voices came from the corridor outside the door, followed by a flurry of footsteps. Hearing the voices from outside, Wang Kai's eyebrows immediately furrowed. From the two voices, it was not difficult to tell that one of them was the waiter from before. F***CK. He reported Bin Xiao without a tip. He didn't even hesitate. He brought the wanted list up as soon as it arrived. Wang Kai grinned helplessly. Furthermore, the general outside was at the same level as Master when from the Warlord Martial Arts Club. He couldn't detect his cultivation level at all. Even the soldiers following behind the general were unable to sense their realms. They were much stronger than him. Above chaotic martial master, Wang Kai frowned. For a moment, he was speechless. He accepted the fact that the other party was very strong. After all, they were the royal guards of the royal family. If only the vanishing shadow function was still here. F***CK. Where did all the functions go? Did I lose all the updates? Or did the system eat them? Host, all the usual functions are still here. It's just that the system doesn't record them. Buzz. Wang Kai frowned when he heard the notification. He couldn't help but raise his hand and shout, Vanishing shadow. Whoosh. Suddenly, under Wang Kai's surprised gaze, the shadow under his feet was caught in his hand. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai was suddenly filled with joy. He quickly let go of his shadow and turned to lie on the chair with his legs crossed. He drank tea without the slightest anxiousness. With the vanishing shadow function, he thought, I'll kill whoever comes. Host, in the chaotic realm, you can't control the vanishing shadow function regardless of the opponent's cultivation level. Based on your current cultivation level, if you want to control the powerful enemies outside, you'll have to spend 10 bragging points every 2 hours. Whoosh. When this notification came out, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth couldn't help but twitch fiercely, and he almost fell off the chair. Fortunately, the system was much more flexible than before and took the initiative to tell him how to deal with the royal guards outside. Otherwise, if this was in the past, there would definitely be mistakes. Bang! Crack! Suddenly, the door was shattered by the force of gravity. The royal guards of the royal family and the waiter of the inn came into view. The waiter looked pleased. His eyes were full of sarcasm. It was obvious that he was saying, this is what you get for not tipping. If this had happened in the past, Wang Kai would have slapped him. However, he couldn't do that now. No matter what, he was the one who didn't tip the waiter. At the same time, the waiter was a resident of the war god royal family. It was reasonable for him to report him. Of course, if he still dared to report him after tipping, he would definitely suffer a terrible fate. It's you. Clack. The leader of the royal guards compared the portrait in his hand with Wang Kai's. Then, he put the portraits together and placed his hand on the hilt of the blade at his waist. He said in a deep voice, "Will you come back with us alive, or will we carry your corpse back?" As so ruthless? Wang Kai grinned when he heard this. He did not expect the third princess to be so angry. Based on what Wang Wei had said, she must have issued a wanted order regardless of whether he was dead or alive. Haha, don't be so sure. Don't worry, Bin Xiao won't run away. He'll wait here patiently for you to inform the third princess. Tell her to come see Bin Xiao as soon as possible if she doesn't want anything to be exposed. Wang Kai said with a smile. Whoosh. Hearing this, the leader of the royal guards frowned deeply. From Wang Kai's calm and composed demeanor, it was not difficult to guess that he must have grasped something that could be used against the third princess. Furthermore, the third princess, who was a grade 9 chaotic martial master, had actually been sneakily kissed by a thief. 90% of what he said was true. He must have something on the third princess that he could use against her. As for Wang Kai kissing the third princess with his strength, the royal guards didn't believe it at all. After all, they had heard that the third princess had sent Wang Kai flying with just one move. There's no need to say more. Men, capture him and bring him back to the palace's dungeon. We'll wait for the third princess to deal with him. During this time, if he does anything inappropriate, we can cut off his tongue and break his limbs. The royal guards frowned and said coldly, Whoosh. Wang Kai frowned at such a ruthless order. He immediately stood up from his chair and sneered. You're courting death, shadowless. Buzz. Swoosh. Suddenly, before the royal guards could react, the shadow under his feet was grabbed by Wang Kai. At the same time, the system notification sounded. Host, congratulations on successfully controlling a grade 9 chaotic martial master. A total of 10 bragging points have been spent. Grade 9 chaotic martial master? Above chaotic martial master is chaotic martial master? Upon hearing the notification, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders. He didn't have time to think. With a forceful pull, the royal guards fell to the ground. Plop. Bastard. What kind of demonic skill is this? Who exactly are you? The leader of the royal guards was livid with pain. From the beginning, he hadn't taken Wang Kai seriously. Who would have thought that he would fall into his trap? What are all of you doing? Don't fucking move. Otherwise, if this young master isn't careful, I'll directly take this idiot's head. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and shouted with a rather cold expression. Buzz. Ding dong. Upon hearing this, the royal guards held their weapons tightly and stopped in their tracks. They looked at the leader of the royal guards, who was lying on the ground. For a moment, they didn't dare to move. Chapter 925. I've killed many people like you who yelled and screamed before they died. So, you can insult me as much as you want. I won't hold it against you. Just tell me what I want to know. When Master Wen's voice sounded again, Wang Kai was so angry that he laughed out loud. According to what you said, regardless of whether Bin Xiao tells you the secret of the third princess, he will still die in the end? If that's the case, why are you still asking? Are you an idiot? Are you stupid? Wang Kai frowned and sneered with an ashen face. There are many ways to die. Your attitude will determine how you die. Is it painful torture or a quick death without feeling anything? Hiss. Hearing this, Wang Kai couldn't help but take a deep breath. He didn't know where this Master Wen's confidence came from to actually be so certain that he would relent and tell him. Could it be that he had interrogated too many people? He had succeeded every time. Was that why he was so arrogant and confident now? But no matter where he got his confidence from, now was not the time to be stubborn. Even if the resurrection function could bring him back to life and he wasn't afraid of death, the pain was still there. Moreover, if he continued to act tough and didn't say anything, he would be tortured. This wasn't worth it for Wang Kai. He had always been the one to torture others. When had he ever been tortured? Thinking of this, Wang Kai clenched his teeth and said coldly, "Let Ben Shao say it. But not now. You have no choice. TSK. TSK." Hearing such a strong response, Wang Kai sneered and said, "Don't forget that the third princess will be here soon. The only thing you can do is to kill Ben Shao. But this won't do you any good. You won't know anything in the end, and even if you want to torture Ben Shao and make Ben Shao talk, you need enough time, right?" With the speed of the royal guards of the chaotic martial realm, the third princess should be on her way now, right? Maybe she's about to reach the inn. Whoosh! There was a moment of silence after he said this, as if he was pondering over Wang Kai's words, and also as if he was trying to find out where the third princess was. Wang Kai wasn't sure about all these, but he was sure that as long as he wanted to know what he had on the third princess, he would definitely compromise in the end. "I don't want to know anymore, so you can die now." Wang. As Master Wen's icy voice fell, a green chaotic force pierced through the void and turned into a blade that slashed towards Wang Kai. Wang Kai did not have any power to resist. He was suppressed by the pressure and could not move at all. Even if he used the system to deal with a strong enemy like Master One, he would need to consume a lot of bragging points, which he would not be able to satisfy at the moment. They could only watch as the azure saber grew larger and larger in their eyes. "Where's the shameless one? Quickly bring this princess to see him." Bang! Crack! As the third princess's voice rang in his ears, Wang Kai lost consciousness in an instant. His body had been smashed into pieces by the azure saber. Fresh blood stained the ground. At the same time, another green chaotic saber attacked and killed the leader of the royal guards that Wang Kai had stepped on. "I will not allow any potential threats to affect the Flame Emperor's plan. No one is allowed to." In the void, Master One was wearing a green robe. He had an elegant temperament and was extraordinarily handsome. Even though his words were filled with murderous intent, his expression was still gentle and kind. "Wang." As his voice fell, Grandmaster Wen's figure turned into specks of green light and disappeared. "Despicable and shameless person, get out here." Bang! The third princess's pretty face was cold, and her beautiful eyes were spitting fire as she walked into the room. After she shouted angrily, she was stunned by the scene in front of her. Other than the blood, flesh, and bone fragments on the ground, there was no one else. Moreover, the pungent smell of blood caused the third princess to frown. She covered half of her face and hurriedly retreated. "Where did you find him? Didn't you say that the person I wanted to capture was here? Where is he?" The third princess was wearing a long golden dress. She was like an erupting volcano with her hands on her waist as she coldly questioned the royal guards who had followed her in. The royal guards were extremely puzzled by this as well. They'd already seen the scene inside, and there was indeed no sign of Wang Kai. The leader is also gone. Just as a few royal guards went in to search, they realized that there was no trace of the leader of the royal guards. Other than the blood and flesh on the ground, there was nothing else. "Damn you, don't let me see you again. Otherwise, I'm going to die from anger." The third princess gritted her teeth and snorted coldly. She flung her sleeves and turned to leave angrily. When the royal guard saw this, they did not dare to stay any longer and hurriedly follow behind her. What exactly happened? How many people have died in my inn in less than 2 hours? How am I going to do business? At the same time, under the guidance of the waiter, the owner of the inn and a group of guests surrounded the entrance. When they saw the bloody scene inside and the pungent smell of blood, everyone's eyebrows were deeply furrowed and they were inwardly horrified. Most of the guests had killed people before and had seen murder before. However, it was the first time they had seen such a vicious method of killing without leaving a corpse behind and without even knowing who had died. Just how much hatred did they have for them to do such a vicious thing? "Innkeeper, guests, please leave. I need to tidy up the room." Suddenly, the waiter's eyes turned and he pretended to be disgusted. However, he had no choice but to do so as he bowed and asked for instructions. In response, the inn owner was extremely gratified. He patted the waiter's shoulder and sighed. Go ahead. From today onwards, then will not be able to operate. After you finish tidying up, come down and collect your double monthly salary. If you're willing to follow me, you can change places with me and start all over again. Yes, yes, I will definitely follow you. The waiter bowed and nodded as he repeatedly said with a face full of surprise. After the inn owner and the guests left, the waiter scanned the surroundings like a thief. After confirming that there was no one around, he tiptoed and pinched his nose as he entered the room. Hee, the royal guards of the royal palace. A chaotic marshal general expert must have left behind a lot of property after his death, right? If others don't want to collect it for you, I will do it for you. The waiter chuckled. He picked up a rag and wrapped it around his hand. He directly reached into the flesh and started a search. You're quite bold. You even want to take the property of a dead person? However, when a laugh filled with disdain rang out, the waiter was so frightened that he fell to the ground. His face was ghastly pale, and he broke out in a cold sweat. Damn it! That damn master would cause Ben Shao to die not long after he came to the chaotic world. Damn it! Chapter 926. Who? Who is it? Who? Come out. Wah. The waiter's face was pale as he trembled and screamed. In the end, he was so scared that he started to cry. He wanted to run away, but he did not have the strength to do so. He was so scared that he lost control of his body. How dare you take advantage of a dead person's wealth with that little bit of courage of yours? Previously, when I didn't give you a tip, you even King reported me. Buzz. As his voice fell, a drop of blood floated into the air and gradually transformed into a figure. When Wang Kai came back to life, the waiter was so scared that he rolled his eyes and fell to the ground, suffocating. Scared to death? What are you thinking? With such little guts, how dare you try to steal from the flesh of the dead? Wang Kai grinned and was speechless. However, he ignored the waiter. Even if the waiter was not scared to death, he would kill him. After all, he could not expose the fact that he had come back to life. Otherwise, he would be hunted down by the third princess and master, one of the Warrior King Martial Club. What Wang Kai needed to do now was to quickly find a safe place and brag a few times. Once he was strong enough, he would come back and kill that master one. Even the third princess had to be toyed with. Young master, you are really amazing. You came back to life. Amazing. Amazing. Just as Wang Kai took out a white robe and put it on, a laughter was heard in the room. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly when he heard this. He looked in the direction of the door and said with a playful smile, Which hero is it? Hiding your aura to spy on Ben Shao. Isn't it too much? Ha ha ha. I didn't expect you to be so arrogant after dying once. That's right. Young master is not afraid of death and can come back to life. Since that is the case, you don't know what it means to admit defeat. Thud. As soon as he finished speaking, a middle-aged man in a blue robe walked into the room. There was no one behind him. His aura was not obvious, and his realm was also impossible to see through. However, Wang Kai was somewhat displeased that he was unable to see through the other party's realm every time. What realm is he at? Host, this person is a 9th grade chaotic martial grandmaster. This time, a total of 10 bragging points have been consumed. A primal chaos grandmaster, and the strongest 9th stage grandmaster. Chaotic martial disciple, chaotic martial master, chaotic martial general, and finally, chaotic martial grandmaster. Wang Kai frowned and was speechless. Master Wen had just left, and now there was another person who seemed to be even stronger. It was really hard to accept. You are a 9th grade chaotic martial grandmaster. You actually came to see me, a little chaotic martial master. What can I do for you? Wang Kai shrugged and said casually. Just as he said, even if he died, he would come back to life. Therefore, Wang Kai had no need to be afraid of anything. Although the pain of death wasn't good, he shouldn't lower his head to others just because he was afraid of pain, right? Even if he were to lower his head, he would still have to look at the situation. If he could act tough, he would naturally do so. Oh, I didn't expect you to have the ability to see through my realm. Not bad, not bad. The middle-aged man in the blue robe nodded his head and smiled in surprise. First, it was master, and now it was little brother. Wang Kai frowned slightly. Judging from this person's actions and words, as well as the way he addressed him, he must be a person of high status. Moreover, he was not here to take his life. Even if he wasn't an enemy, he wasn't sure if he was a friend. There were different ways to deal with different people. Tell me, what do you want? Wang Kai said flatly with his hands behind his back. At first, I didn't want to do anything. After all, you dare to take advantage of the princess, and you will definitely die. However, even Master One, who is in the same realm as me, couldn't kill you. Therefore, I am very curious. The middle-aged man in the blue robe squinted his eyes and smiled. I am a king. He actually called himself a king. Moreover, Master One was in the same realm as him. Was he also a 9th grade chaotic martial grandmaster? Wang Kai frowned deeply. Just these two pieces of information were enough to make him nervous. If he dared to call himself a king in Battle King City, could he be the Battle King? Was he the third princess's father? At the same time, the person who called himself a king was in the chaotic martial grandmaster realm. In that case, was it the highest realm in Battle King City? You're the Battle Emperor? Wang Kai's eyes narrowed as he asked bluntly. No. The Battle King is my sworn brother. My name is Chun Tong. People call me Prince Chun Lu. Prince Chun Lu smiled faintly. Prince Chun Lu. Why does this name sound so familiar? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. He secretly pondered for a moment before he suddenly thought of something. Before he stepped into the Battle King Martial Club, he vaguely remembered that the cultivators in the queue had said that the Battle King's second princess was engaged to Prince Chun Lu. Could it be this person? Your sworn brother is the Battle King. In that case, you are a prince with a different surname? TSK. The relationship between your royal family and the War Monarch is a bit messy. The War Monarch is clearly your sworn brother, yet you still want to marry his beloved daughter, the second princess. Wang Kai curled his lips in a speechless manner. As a member of a military family, Wang Kai naturally knew about the messy relationships in the royal family. However, he did not expect the Battle King City's royal family to be so messy. Prince Chun Lu stroked his beard and smiled mysteriously as he said, Haha, apart from the War King and myself, there is no third person who knows that the War King is my sworn brother. Oh no, there shouldn't be a fourth person who knows. Whoosh. Wang Kai's pupils shrank when he heard that. He smiled coldly and said, What the hell do you mean? Can you intimidate Ben Xiao with this kind of threat? No. How would I dare to threaten you? I am here to make a deal with you. A deal that can make you rich and powerful. Prince Chun Lu quickly waved his hand and said with a smile, Brother? He called him brother? Wang Kai frowned when he heard that. The first time, he called him young master. The second time, he called him little brother. Now, he was F** King little brother? Oh, F** CK. Who is your little brother? Who are you talking to? Don't you know that everyone in the chaotic realm is Ben Xiao's little brother and little sister? You are just a little Prince Chun Lu. Why did you come here and pretend to be Ben Xiao's big brother? Are you tired of living? Wang Kai snorted disdainfully with a dark face. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to become a rank 4 chaotic general. He had always called others little brother and grandson. He did not expect to be called little brother today. Little brother, you are in a very bad situation. Even if you can come back from the dead, you will not be able to escape Battle King City. After all, I am Prince Chun Lu. If you don't cooperate, I will have to capture you and hand you over to the third princess. Prince Chun Lu said calmly. Chapter 9:27. You seem to be very confident. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a cold smile on his face. Putting aside the fact that he was calling him little brother, he was even threatening him now. Did he really think that he would surrender without a fight? Haha, little brother, don't misunderstand. I really want to be friends with you, so I had no choice but to do this. Of course, that idiot Master One doesn't know that you can come back from the dead, but I saw it with my own eyes. Prince Chun Lu smiled faintly. Whoosh! Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. While he was praising him, he was still threatening him. Are you trying to say that Master Wen couldn't do anything to me, but you can? Of course. Since I can't kill you, I'll imprison you and hand you over to the third princess. This way, even if you manage to escape, it has nothing to do with me, and I'll be able to obtain the third princess's gratitude. Prince Chen Lu said unhurriedly. These words caused Wang Kai to feel a chill in his heart. According to what he said, no matter what the outcome was, the other party would have an advantage. Instead, he would be met with all kinds of obstacles. Are you so sure that Ben Xiao can't do anything to you? Wang Kai shrugged and asked with a playful smile. Master Wen from the Warlord Martial Arts Club couldn't defeat him because he hadn't shown himself. If they had confronted each other face to face, the final outcome would have been uncertain. Prince Chen Lu was at the same level as Master Wen, but he still dared to stand in front of him with such fanfare and even threatened him verbally. If this kind of person didn't die, who would? Sai, little brother, you have to think about it carefully. With me working with you, not only will the third princess not dare to cause trouble for you, even Master Wen from the Warlord Martial Arts Club will have to tolerate you. Moreover, you'll be able to control the court and do whatever you want. It's better than being chased everywhere like now, right? Prince Chen Lu shook his head and sighed. Wang Kai was disgusted by his earnest persuasion. It sounded nice, but was this kind of treatment something that just anyone could get? Could it be that he could control the court with just a few words and no one would dare to provoke him? There was a price to be paid for any harvest or sudden gift. Wang Kai was very clear about this. Your opinion is indeed very good, but I'm sorry. Ben Xiao has never intended to be anyone's younger brother. To put it bluntly, you're not worthy for Ben Xiao to call you elder brother. Also, don't King show off with Ben Xiao over there. With your skills, you're not as good as that trash Master Wen. Wang Kai frowned and sneered with disdain. Even if Master Wen wanted to kill him, King had to admit that the other party was very smart and cautious. He knew to hide in the dark and not show himself easily. But this Prince Chen Lu was different. He was clearly at the same level as Grandmaster Wen, but he dared to appear so brazenly in front of him. He probably didn't even see him using Vanishing Shadow to control the royal guards. Even Grandmaster Wen didn't dare to show his face, but he dared to, young master, since you don't know what's good for you, then this king will go *CK yourself. I've given you some face and chatted with you for a while. Do you really think you're some *T honorable brother of the War King, Prince Chen Lu? Before Prince Chen Lu could finish speaking, Wang Kai waved his hand and interrupted him coldly. He even scolded him mercilessly. Previously, when he was a chaotic martial master, he could use the system to suppress a chaotic general. Now that he was a chaotic general, he could naturally use the system to suppress a chaotic martial ancestor. It was just that the bragging points consumed would be more expensive. Prince Chen Lu, you've done well. If you hadn't informed me, I would definitely have been deceived by this despicable person. Suddenly, the familiar voice of the third princess entered his ears. Wang Kai's pupils shrank, and the corners of his mouth twitched involuntarily. When he looked at Prince Chen Lu again, Wang Kai already bore a grudge against him. When he saw that Wang Kai wouldn't agree to his request, he immediately contacted the third princess. Judging by how quickly the third princess had arrived, Prince Chen Lu must have informed her a long time ago. Third princess, what are you talking about? Although I don't have the same surname, I've always been part of the War King's royal family. Naturally, I can't stand anyone offending you. Prince Chen Lu placed his hands behind his back and smiled warmly. Haha, Prince Chen Lu, you're too considerate. I'll inform my father about this. As soon as she finished speaking, the third princess, who was wearing a golden dress, appeared outside the door with her hands behind her back and a playful look on her face. Due to the bloody scene in the room, the third princess didn't enter. Why aren't you out here? Prince Chen Lu is a prince with a different surname. He's the brother of Wang Shang from the Great Qin Dynasty, the predecessor of the War King Dynasty. If he hadn't secretly helped, it would have been extremely difficult for my father to conquer the Great Qin Dynasty. This person is vicious and merciless. He even dares to kill his own brother. His cultivation is also very high. I'm afraid I'm no match for him. Wang Kai, who was about to attack, heard the third princess's voice transmission in his mind. When he heard this, Wang Kai finally understood. Prince Chenlu was a prince left behind by the Great Qin dynasty. After all this time, Prince Chenlu was a traitor who colluded with an outsider. He didn't hesitate to kill his own brother, Wang Shang, and cause the destruction of the Great Qin dynasty. Haha, Bin Xiao used to think that you were someone important. Although you're a little stupid, I have to admit that you're quite brave to show off in front of Bin Xiao. But now, Bin Xiao has misjudged you. At most, you're a barren person. Whoosh! As soon as she finished speaking, Wang Kai flung his sleeve disdainfully and walked out of the room to stand behind the third princess. Wang Kai didn't want to dirty his hands by killing a traitor like Prince Chenlu. Moreover, he would have to use up a lot of bragging points. It wasn't worth it at all. Shut up. Prince Chenlu is a prince of my War King dynasty. How dare you spout nonsense and insult him? Men, take him back to the palace. I will punish him severely. Just as Prince Chenlu's killing intent spread, the third princess's beautiful eyes flickered. She hurriedly reprimanded him and waved her hand, signaling the royal guards with her eyes. Don't worry, I won't kill you. As long as you behave and listen to my orders, it will be fine. Afraid that Wang Kai would resist, the third princess could only secretly transmit her voice again. In response, Wang Kai merely shrugged his shoulders and grinned, but he didn't say anything. Since he had walked out of the room and didn't choose to fight to the death with Prince Chenlu, it meant that he would temporarily leave with the third princess. Compared to an eccentric traitor like Prince Chenlu, it was better to stay with the third princess, who he had a handle on. At least if something happened, he could use it to deal with her. Young master, what do you mean by barren? Prince Chenlu furrowed his brows and asked with a rather cold expression. Chapter 928. Not only was Wang Kai stunned by this question, but even the third princess was stunned. She looked at Prince Chenlu as if she was looking at an idiot. Although the third princess didn't know what he meant, it definitely wasn't something good. Since it wasn't something good, why did he bother asking? This prince knows that those were insulting words, but this prince has a habit of making everything clear. Whatever you scold this prince will turn you into that prince. If you insult my parents, I'll kill your parents. If you insult my character, I'll make sure everyone in the Warlord dynasty looks down on you. If you insult my friends, I'll kill all of them. As Prince Chenlu spoke, the corners of Wang Kai's mouth fiercely twitched. This Prince Chenlu's personality was truly strange. If he did as he said, wouldn't he be turned into a barren person if he told him what a barren person was? But if he didn't tell him, it would be very unpleasant. With this thought in mind, Wang Kai shrugged and smiled playfully. A barren person is what your father used to give birth to you. You have it. I have it. All men have it. It's very practical, very satisfying, very violent. Swish. With that, Wang Kai quickly left with the royal guards and the blushing third princess. Prince Chenlu's face was stiff and filled with murderous intent. He didn't move for a long time. You bastard. Why do you have to say everything? Shameless bastard. If you provoke him, you won't even know how you died. Along the way, the third princess gritted her teeth and cursed in a low voice with a red face. Wang Kai's explanation had almost angered the third princess. What a joke. He's just Prince Chenlu who destroyed an empire, not the current prince of the War King Empire. Since that's the case, why should I be afraid of him? Wang Kai shrugged and snorted disdainfully. You. When the third princess heard this, her beautiful eyes widened as she took a deep breath. Then, she gritted her teeth and said, It is true that he is a prince of another family, but his cultivation is extremely high. In Battle King City, besides my father, there is no one else who has absolute confidence in suppressing him. Furthermore, he has a deep connection with the Fire Kingdom's royal family. What? He's the second strongest person in War King City? When these words were spoken, Wang Kai was instantly stunned. He had never imagined that Prince Chenlu would be so powerful. He was clearly at the same cultivation level as Master One, but he was known as the second strongest person in the War King Empire. Did that mean that he dared to appear in front of her because he was very confident? What realm is your father at? Wang Kai frowned and asked. You don't know? Are you an idiot? Are you an idiot? Where did you come from? Even the people from the countryside know about my father's deeds. The third princess widened her eyes and stared at Wang Kai in disbelief. In the end, she was it. Is your father really that awesome? Does Ben Shao need to know so much? What a joke. Everyone in the chaotic world knows about Ben Shao. If you haven't heard of him, then you must be ignorant. Wang Kai curled his lips and sneered disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. You're bragging. The third princess put her hands on her hips and retorted in disdain. Aren't you just bragging? Even if your old man has some skills, it's not to the point where this young master needs to know. It can be said that in this world, the only people who can make this young master remember are this young master's family, wife, and brothers. Wang Kai smiled rather indifferently. The system did not reward him for his words. Indeed, as Wang Kai had said, except for his close female friends, brothers, and relatives, he had almost forgotten all those who had been his enemies and opponents. He did not have the leisure to remember them. Of course, if he thought about it carefully, he would remember them. However, he would not remember them. Then listen carefully. My father is the only chaotic martial king in the warlord dynasty. He is a peerless expert who is above the chaotic martial ancestor and can kill the chaotic martial ancestor with one hand. The third princess said proudly, Chaotic martial king, chaotic martial disciple, chaotic martial master, chaotic martial general, chaotic martial grandmaster, chaotic martial king. Wang Kai frowned slightly. An expert who was 2 realms higher than him was not easy to deal with. Or rather, he could not deal with him now. It seemed that he had to brag more in the future. He would not let go of any opportunity to brag. After all, he had been able to reach the chaotic martial master level from the chaotic martial disciple level when he had just arrived in the chaotic world. He had fallen from the sky and killed 2 sons of the Zhan family. That was how he had gained a lot of experience. After that, he had reached the chaotic martial general level because he had killed the royal guard of the royal family. Otherwise, he would not have been able to reach his current realm just by bragging. Then listen well. This young master's name is Wang Kai, and I'm in the primal chaos awesome realm. Haha, look at your idiotic appearance. You still don't know what the primal chaos awesome realm is, right? It's very simple. It is the most awesome realm in the chaotic world. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Shut up. Who told you to brag? Not only did you offend me, you also disobeyed the royal guards and killed the leader of the royal guards as well as many royal guards. When we return to the palace, you will naturally receive the punishment you deserve. The third princess gritted her silver teeth and said with some resentment, What the F***CK? Hearing this, Wang Kai's footsteps suddenly stopped. He raised his eyebrows and turned around. With a sneer on his face, he said, Don't tell me you misunderstood? Do you really think that Ben Shao is afraid of your bullshit warlord royal family? I'm not afraid to tell you that if Ben Shao enters the palace, the entire palace will be reduced to ashes. Not even a dog's fart will be left. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 5th rank of chaotic martial general. Then this princess will tell you that if you have the guts, come back to the palace with this princess. When the time comes, if I can't torture you and let you know the majesty of the warlord royal family, this princess would rather commit suicide in front of you. The third princess raised her slender arm and pointed to the sky. She even swore. When he saw this, Wang Kai couldn't help but rub his nose. He rolled his eyes and chuckled. You don't need to commit suicide. You only need to marry Ben Shao and let Ben Shao become the emperor's son-in-law. Of course, this is your good fortune and luck. You should know that Wang Shang of the Fire Dynasty begs Ben Xiao to marry his daughter every day. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Pay. Pay. Stop bragging. Wang Shang of the Fire Dynasty doesn't have a daughter. He only has one prince. If you want to marry me, then go ahead. Don't even think about hitting on this princess. Give up on that thought. The third princess turned her head and harumphed. She put her hands behind her back and walked away proudly. The Fire Dynasty doesn't have a princess? Only one prince? When he heard this, Wang Kai's face darkened. Chapter 929. Don't tell me it's the crown prince who married the first princess? Wang Kai rubbed his nose as he spoke, speechless. That's right. My eldest sister is very powerful. If you want to compete with her for favor, don't blame me for not warning you. You'll end up in a miserable state. The third princess blinked her beautiful eyes, her expression filled with disdain. Compete for favor? Damn it. Do you really think I'm gay? The corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched violently. When he saw the third princess' serious expression, his heart filled with anger. At the same time, he felt extremely disgusted. The wife of the crown prince of the Fire King's royal family is your eldest sister? Haha. Then let me tell you frankly. Actually, you should call Ben Xiao eldest brother-in-law. Many years ago, your eldest sister had already privately pledged her life to Ben Xiao. Oh, she was the one who forced herself on Ben Xiao. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled calmly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Whoosh! The third princess narrowed her eyes when she heard this. She placed her hands behind her back and snorted coldly with a serious expression on her pretty face. If that's the case, I should thank you. As long as I spread the news of you having an affair with my eldest sister, isn't that your biological eldest sister? Wang Kai asked, stunned. He thought that the third princess would definitely be angry. Who would have thought that not only was she not angry, she even looked very happy. Furthermore, it was obvious that she wanted to use what he said to frame her eldest sister. Yes, but after she married the crown prince of the Fire King's royal family for a year, she stopped being his eldest sister. Stop talking nonsense and quickly follow me back to the palace, the third princess said calmly. Seeing that her mood was clearly not right, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and thought to himself. He did not say anything else. However, one thing was certain. The first princess, who had married into the Fire King's royal family, did not have a good relationship with the third princess. Similarly, her relationship with the Warlord dynasty was not good either. Within the Warlord's palace, under the lead of the third princess, they stepped through the heavily guarded palace gates, passed through the Xuanwu Road, passed through the Battle Marshal Gate, and finally circled around the Heavenly Marshal Gate before finally arriving at the overflowing fragrance garden where the princess resided. Along the way, there were many twists and turns. After walking for over 2 hours, they finally arrived at their destination. This was still a detour. If they wanted to go to the main hall of the royal palace, where Wang Shang was, they would have to walk for more than 2 hours to reach it. If we go to the harem, it will take 6 hours, right? Sigh. It seems that I shouldn't go and steal her. It's too troublesome. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. If he were to walk in the air, he would definitely be able to go to every place in the palace in the blink of an eye. Unfortunately, regardless of whether it was in the sky or on the ground, there were royal guards patrolling the area. Furthermore, their cultivation was not low, and their numbers were also extremely large. It was simply too difficult for Wang Kai, who was a chaotic martial general, to not be discovered. You're sneaking around there. What kind of evil idea are you thinking of? The third princess turned around. After ordering the royal guards to retreat, her beautiful eyes stared at Wang Kai with a suspicious look on her face. In response, the corners of Wang Kai's mouth curled up slightly. He waved his hand and did not say anything. He scanned the overflowing fragrance garden where the third princess resided. There was not even a single royal guard around. Even if there were palace maids and servant girls, there was only Qiao, who had just come out to welcome them. Aren't you afraid that Ben Shao will kill you? You don't even have a single guard? Wang Kai furrowed his brow and asked in surprise. Humph, I'm afraid you are thinking too much. Although there are no royal guards stationed in the overflowing fragrance garden where my princess resides, there is a spirit snake watching over her. If you're not afraid of death, you can give it a try. Before the third princess could speak, Palace maid Xiao snorted disdainfully. Spirit snake watching over her? When Wang Kai heard this, he frowned and scanned his surroundings carefully. In the end, he did not find any spirit snake. Furthermore, when he probed with his divine thought, he did not find anything strange either. If there really was a spirit snake, its cultivation level must be extremely high. It was not someone that he could defeat. Thinking of this, Wang Kai did not act rashly. He shrugged and smiled faintly. You must be joking. Ben Shao does not have the time to do anything to you. Tell me, what do you want to do by bringing Ben Shao here? What do I want to do? Don't you know? The third princess glared with her beautiful eyes and placed her hands on her waist as she reprimanded him. I know. You really like Ben Shao, and now you want Ben Shao to stay and spend the night with you. TSK, you have good taste. Although Ben Shao does not like to be forced by others, he can still grit his teeth and obey a beautiful princess like you. Come, do it. Ben Shao will not scream. Wang Kai stretched out his hand and tore open his shirt, revealing his chest. He shouted with a calm face. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Beautiful princess. Hearing this, the third princess blinked her beautiful eyes. She couldn't help but feel pleased in her heart. However, on the surface, she still maintained a cold expression as she angrily rebuked, Impudent. You dare to threaten me again and again. Now that you are in the palace, you still don't know how to write the word death. Clap, clap. Wang Kai immediately clapped his hands and smiled proudly. You have asked the right person. The word death is nothing more than a bad person holding a dagger in his hand. Just like you holding another dagger called the Princess Identity and wanting to take Ben Shao's life. This is the word death. What? When these words were spoken, the third princess and Xiao were both stunned. They looked at each other as the word death involuntarily surfaced in their minds. According to what Wang Kai had said, this was indeed what it meant. Wasn't the word death made up of the word bad and dagger? Bah, bah, bah. I'm not asking you how to write the word death. I'm asking you if you know the taste of death. The third princess shook her head and scolded him with her red lips tightly pursed. Wang Kai had messed things up. His mouth was simply too eloquent. The taste of death? Ben Shao does know this, but I can't explain it to you. I can't let you experience it for yourself. After all, you are such a beautiful princess. I can't let you die for nothing. However, Ben Shao can tell you the taste of the wedding night. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled mockingly. You are shameless. The third princess reprimanded him with a red face. Bastard. Princess, let the spiritual snake come out and kill him. He is simply too despicable. The palace maid Xiao, Er's face was also red. She gritted her teeth and reminded him in a low voice. Spiritual snake? TSK, quickly let it come out. Ben Shao wants to see what kind of snake it is that it dares to challenge Ben Shao. Needless to say, one move is enough to kill it. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th grade chaotic general realm. Chapter 9:30. One move. Ha ha. As soon as he said this, the third princess and Xiao both laughed coquettishly. Their laughter was full of contempt and disdain. Wang Kai didn't care about this. He was just bragging. As for whether the other party believed it or not, that was their business. What did it have to do with him? War, come out and see the shameless human. Hiss. Swoosh. 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 Suddenly, at the third princess's command, a thin flower snake with one arm crawled out from the flowers. The flower snake's color was very messy. Due to its small size, it was difficult to see it with the naked eye. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The little flower snake climbed onto the third princess's shoulder and spat out its tongue. It stared at Wang Kai with its green eyes. Can't speak? How dare you call yourself a spiritual snake? Wang Kai curled his lips in disdain. He sensed the aura of the flower snake and found that it was only at the peak of grade 9 chaotic martial artist. For a moment, he did not care. Wang Kai was already a grade 6 chaotic martial artist. With a vanishing shadow, he did not need to be afraid of the little flower snake, a grade 9 chaotic martial artist. Hiss, hiss. However, these words instead infuriated the little flower snake, causing it to spit out its tongue and sway its body as it took on an attacking posture. Wait, there's no need to care about this ignorant fool. Everyone knows that demons can't speak the human language or take human form before reaching the king realm. He doesn't know that because he is stupid. The third princess waved her hand and comforted the flower snake. Swoosh, swoosh. Wang Kai was full of disdain when he heard this. He thought that outside the chaotic realm, all the demonic beasts had taken human form. Even the weapon spirits could speak. As expected of the chaotic realm, it is indeed a primitive place before the universe was formed. The evolution is not high enough. Wang Kai said flatly, "You speak as if you're not from the chaotic realm." Chow, or snorted disdainfully. No need to talk nonsense with him. He is just ignorant. The third princess said, "Who's the ignorant one?" Wang Kai shrugged and snorted in disdain. "You're a chaos general, but you can't even speak. You're embarrassing yourself." In the Qingyun starry sky, even in the Fan prefecture, there were many beasts that could speak the human language. Of course, even knowing this, Wang Kai had no intention of underestimating the other party. Even though the snake could not speak, it was at the pinnacle of the 9th grade chaotic martial artist realm. Even though it was unable to speak, it was still far stronger than any other demonic beast he had ever seen before. It was already so powerful without being able to take human form or speak human language. Wouldn't it be even more powerful when it took human form? Looks like, if there's a chance, Bin Xiao also has to get a demon pet. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes. He thought to himself, "Forget it. I'm tired. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. But don't worry, I won't take your life." As her voice faded, the third princess stretched her waist, revealing her tender body that was about to blossom. "Chower, take Little Flower and escort him to Eunuch Lu." "What? To Eunuch Lu? Don't tell me you want to." Chower widened her beautiful eyes and asked in surprise. "That's right. Let him become a eunuch. In the future, he will be under my command in the overflowing fragrance garden." The third princess said indifferently, "Let Bin Xiao become a eunuch? Do you want to castrate Bin Xiao?" Hearing this, Wang Kai's face darkened. He almost jumped up. He was truly frightened by the third princess's words. However, no matter how Wang Kai shouted, the third princess did not have any intention of paying attention to him. She turned around and disappeared from the garden. Only Xiao, whose face was filled with sympathy, and the little flower snake, whose eyes were filled with threat as it stared intently at Wang Kai. "Accept your fate. You're the first person who dares to provoke the third princess like this. You are also the first person who has been brought back to the palace by the third princess. Unfortunately, Sai, let's go. It is already fortunate that you can keep your life." Xiao sighed in sympathy. Hiss hiss. The little flower snake climbed onto Xiao Er's shoulder. It spat out its tongue and urged Wang Kai. "You sympathize with Bin Xiao a lot. Since that is the case, then secretly. Impossible. I am indebted to the third princess. If not for the third princess, I would have been sold to a brothel or starved to death on the streets. Therefore, even if you are very pitiful, you can only accept your fate." Xiao waved her hand and interrupted. After speaking, Xiao came to Wang Kai's side and gestured with her hand. With regards to this, Wang Kai was truly speechless to the extreme. He also did not expect that this was the reason why the third princess wanted him to follow her back to the palace. Even if he resisted, he could easily suppress the little flower snake and render Xiao powerless. However, Wang Kai did not have the confidence to escape the palace. After all, countless royal guards and hidden powerful chaos warriors were all in the palace. Damn it, looks like I can only beat her at her own game. When the time comes, I will use the system to suppress Eunuch Lu and pretend to be castrated. Then, I will return to serve the third princess. When the time comes, won't I have a good time? He. As he thought about it, Wang Kai grinned. His heart was filled with blooming flowers. One had to know that in front of eunuchs and eunuchs, the women in the palace would not care about anything and would allow them to serve them. Are you thinking of something bad again? Don't blame me for not telling you. In the palace, eunuchs have to understand the rules the most. If they commit any crimes that they should not commit, they will die more miserably than anyone else. Chao frowned and scolded in a delicate voice. Hiss. The little flower snake on her shoulder also spat out its tongue, as if it was also warning Xiao. In this regard, Wang Kai was extremely helpless. He did not think that he would be reduced to the point where he was threatened by a servant girl and a demon beast. Damn it, I will count this debt on you. When Ben Xiao returns, he will definitely serve you so well that you will want to die, and you will not be able to stop. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and thought of the third princess's budding body. He secretly laughed coldly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. How can this be considered bragging? Ben Xiao will obviously serve him well. Okay? Wang Kai frowned and said rather unhappily. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. However, the system did not care at all and directly gave the second reward notification. In this regard, Wang Kai frowned deeply. He secretly thought that the way eunuchs lived in the palace was completely different from what he had imagined. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and leave. Chao stretched out her hand and gave Wang Kai a hard shove. You will know how powerful Ben Xiao is one day. When that time comes, you will be like your princess and call Ben Xiao Master Kai. Remember, little girl. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and snorted coldly at Xiao. He then turned and left. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th grade chaotic martial general realm. Chapter 9:31. The Cleansing Dust Agency. Wang Kai's limbs were bound by iron chains, and he was lying flat on a rather large iron plate with his arms and legs spread out. One could clearly see that there was a circle of vacuum on the metal plate between his legs. Below, it was a wooden bucket, which was perfectly aligned with the circle of vacuum. One did not need to think to know that the wooden bucket was for Eunuch Lu. Ben Xiao thinks that we can have a good discussion. Wang Kai frowned as he spoke in an indifferent tone. Even though he was tied up, he did not show the slightest bit of fear. Such a calm attitude surprised the white-haired, white-browed, and pale-faced Eunuch Lu. What do you want to discuss? Let you go? How much chaotic steel will you give me? Eunuch Lu narrowed his eyes as he lowered his head to look at the small black scimitar in his hand. His laughter was rather ear-piercing. Everyone who had been here knew what the small black scimitar was for. Chaotic steel? Wang Kai was startled when he heard this. It seemed that the so-called chaotic steel was the common currency of the chaotic realm. However, since Eunuch Lu had mentioned this matter, it meant that there was still room for discussion. With this thought in mind, Wang Kai's lips curled slightly as he said in a rather heroic manner, Eunuch Lu is indeed a straightforward person. It is merely chaotic steel. If Eunuch Lu is willing to be magnanimous, Ben Xiao can give you a mountain range that can mass-produce chaotic steel. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Yo, you are young, but you have quite a big mouth. However, it is simply wishful thinking for you to escape. Everyone who comes here is like you, offering all sorts of conditions, but in the end, they are unable to change their fate. Kid, accept your fate. With me personally carrying out the operation, you will not feel any pain. In the end, Eunuch Lu's tones suddenly became sinister and terrifying. A cold glint flashed in his eyes on his pale face. Will not feel any pain? Do you think this is an injection? It also depended on the technique. Wang Kai's face suddenly darkened. He frowned and said in a rather stiff tone, I'm giving you some face, but you don't want it. If Ben Xiao is not satisfied, he will fart and kill you right here. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. You whoosh. Hearing this, Eunuch Lu's pupils shrank. His eyes were filled with fear as he took a few steps back. He narrowed his eyes and stared at Wang Kai's lower body, as if something terrifying was about to come out. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he saw this. He didn't expect Eunuch Lu to be so misophobic. Kid, don't hold a grudge against me. In the palace, being in the king's company is like being in the company of a tiger. One day, you will be beheaded. If I keep you here, won't it speed up my death? However, you can be at ease. After I cleanse your body, as long as you perform well, I won't treat you unfairly. Although your official position in the palace isn't high, you'll be able to make all the civil and military officials fawn over you. Wouldn't that be great? Eunuch Lu seemed to be used to saying a lot of sinister words. His intention was to clean Wang Kai's body so that he would be able to stand out in the future. What realm is Eunuch Lu at? Wang Kai frowned and secretly activated his thoughts to ask. Host, this person is a rank 1 chaotic martial grandmaster. This time, you have consumed 10 bragging points. Rank 1 chaotic martial grandmaster. After hearing the notification, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. He was already a rank 7 chaotic martial general. If he wanted to use the vanishing shadow to control a chaotic martial grandmaster, it would not be difficult. With this thought, Wang Kai suddenly exerted force. With a series of cracking sounds, the chains that bound his body broke. You, brat, if you resist, it won't be as simple as cleaning your body. Eunuch Lu's pupils suddenly shrank. His fingers pinched the small black scimitar, which shone with a cold light. Shut your King, shut up. You are just a rank 1 chaotic martial grandmaster trash. Ben Xiao has killed countless scum like you. Even a chaotic martial king is just a King grandson to Ben Xiao. How can you be considered Baron? Ahem, I almost forgot that you don't have that thing. Wang Kai touched his nose and found it funny. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience and 10 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through the realm and reaching rank 8 chaotic martial general. Whoosh. After hearing this, Eunuch Lu's face suddenly darkened. Although he did not know what Baron meant at the beginning, the latter part of the sentence about not having that thing. This sentence undoubtedly pierced his nerves. There was nothing wrong with being a eunuch. Even a 3-year-old child would know. As a eunuch, even if he had a high status and was fawned upon by the civil and military officials, in his heart, what he hated the most was to be criticized by others for not having that thing. Wang Kai's words undoubtedly poked at a sore spot. Little bastard, if I do not tear you into pieces today, I will not be worthy of being the #1 eunuch in the palace. I will not be worthy of Wang Shang's trust in me. Give me your life. Buzz. Swoosh. Suddenly, Eunuch Lu yelled out in a sinister voice. Cyan chaotic force gathered on the small black scimitar. With a casual toss, it flew straight towards Wang Kai. The target of the scimitar was Wang Kai's lower body. A gust of cold wind blew from his lower body, causing Wang Kai's face to turn green. His heart was filled with boundless anger. Vanishing shadow. Buzz. Wang Kai tapped his foot and rolled down the metal plate. He narrowly avoided the attack of the scimitar. Then he stretched out his hand and grabbed Eunuch Lu's shadow in his hand. Ding dang. At the same time, Eunuch Lu, who was controlling the scimitar with chaotic energy, suddenly froze. The scimitar fell to the ground as the use of chaotic energy was interrupted. Congratulations to the host for successfully controlling a rank 1 chaotic martial ancestor. A total of 50 bragging points have been spent. You slap. Before Eunuch Lu could speak, Wang Kai viciously slapped him across the face, causing Eunuch Lu to become dizzy. Eunuch Lu's body swayed, and he could only see stars before his eyes. F***CKU. If you want to hit me, then hit me. Why do you want to castrate Ben Shao? Are you tired of living? Slap, slap. After he finished speaking, he slapped Eunuch Lu twice. Eunuch Lu's body fell to the ground like a roly-poly toy and bounced back. He was controlled by vanishing shadow and could only maintain one position. Even if he wanted to fall, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Cough, cough. What kind of technique is this? Who are you? What do you want? Eunuch Lu opened his mouth and coughed up blood. He even spat out 2 teeth on the ground. Chapter 932. Ben Shao has never changed his name. He is Wang Kai, the best in the chaotic realm, the one who split the heavens and the earth and used the chaotic realm as a toilet. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience points and 10 bragging points. Nonsense. The one who split the heavens and the earth was the great sage Pangu. The chaotic realm is the birthplace of the great sage Pangu. It is also the foundation for the great sage Pangu to become a sage. Aren't you afraid that the great sage Pangu will destroy you with your nonsense? Eunuch Lu berated Wang Kai. Wang Kai's words had completely infuriated him. It was as if he was angrier than saying that he did not have that thing. The great sage Pangu? The great sage Pangu? Is this a realm? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this and asked with a surprised expression. Of course. In the chaotic realm, the Supreme Saint realm is one of the strongest. Although it's not the strongest, you should know that there are less than 10 people who can reach that realm. Eunuch Lu said sinisterly. The Great Sage Realm was the name of an extremely powerful realm. Above it, there was the strongest realm. Less than 10 people could reach this realm. Wang Kai frowned deeply. The realms that he knew were Chaotic Martial Disciple, Chaotic Martial Master, Chaotic Martial General, Chaotic Martial Grandmaster, and Chaotic Martial King. Could it be that the Great Sage Realm was above them? The Great Sage Realm is above the Chaotic Martial King realm? Wang Kai touched his nose. Although he felt embarrassed, he could not help but ask. He was not happy to be kept in the dark. Ignorant child. Above the Chaotic Martial King is the Almighty. After the Almighty is the Sage Realm. After the Sage Realm is the Sage Realm, the Ancient Sage Realm, the Ancient Sage Realm, the Ancient Sage Realm, and finally the Great Saint Realm. Do you know how stupid you are now? You disgraceful bastard. Eunuch Lu scolded harshly. Almighty, Sage, Sage, Ancient Sage, Sage, Ancient Sage, Great Sage. Pangu was among them, and he was at the Great Sage Realm. Did that mean that those mythical characters were also here? For example, the 3 pure ones, Hongjun, Niuhua, Fushi, and so on. At this moment, Wang Kai's heart was surging endlessly. If he could really meet those people, wouldn't he be ecstatic? Ahem, you did very well. Although you were just a eunuch without any infertility, you know a lot. Wang Kai reached out and patted his shoulder, praising him. When Eunuch Lu heard this, his face turned green with anger. He wanted to kill Wang Kai, but at this moment, he was insulted again. One could imagine how sullen he felt. Don't be angry. Can't you see that your shadow is already controlled by Ben Shao? I'm not afraid to tell you that Ben Shao only needs to pull gently and your shadow will shatter. At that time, you will die. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile. Whoosh. When Eunuch Lu heard this, he was stunned and his eyes flickered. For a moment, he was not sure if Wang Kai was telling the truth. However, he did not dare to act rashly. Eunuch Lu, are you done? I'm afraid the 3rd princess can't wait any longer. Chao Er's voice suddenly came from outside. Her tone was filled with doubt. Obviously, she had heard the noise inside. Eunuch Lu felt even more sullen. If the 3rd princess had not personally given the order, why would he have to personally cleanse Wang Kai's body? If he had not personally come, how would he have been controlled by Wang Kai? When he saw that Eunuch Lu did not say a word, Wang Kai's eyes narrowed and he waved the shadow in his hand. The threat was self-evident. Xiao, please wait a moment. I will be done soon. Eunuch Lu had no choice but to grit his teeth and reply. The only thing you could do now is to obey Ben Xiao. You must listen to Ben Xiao's arrangements. Otherwise, Ben Xiao will crush your shadow at any time and you will lose your life. Furthermore, from now on, you have lost the right to live under the sun. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai squeezed his hand and stored Eunuch Lu's shadow into the system. What do you mean? If I can't live under the sun, how am I supposed to serve Wang Shang? Eunuch Lu's eyes widened as he spoke with a face full of fear. If he could not go when Wang Shang summoned him, wouldn't he be doomed to be beheaded? Don't worry, Ben Xiao will give you a bit of shadow every day so that you can live under the sun for 6 hours. Of course, don't even think about disobeying Ben Xiao. Even if you're thousands of miles away from me, Ben Xiao can still crush your shadow and take your life. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled calmly. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, a shadow the size of a baby's fist was absorbed into Eunuch Lu's body. Such a small shadow could only survive under the sun for 6 hours. Once it was over, it would definitely turn into dust and die. However, even though Wang Kai had taken control of the shadow and controlled all the movements of the body, Eunuch Lu still did not believe it in his heart. After all, such a technique to control shadows was too strange and unbelievable. He had never seen it before, so how could he believe it? What do you want? Eunuch Lu narrowed his eyes and asked sinisterly. It's very simple. Announce to the outside world that Ben Xiao has been successfully cleansed by you. Also, find an opportunity to let Ben Xiao play in the warlord's harem. Don't worry, Ben Xiao is a dignified gentleman and will not do anything to the queens and concubines in the harem. Wang Kai said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000 experience and 10 bragging points. How audacious! These words infuriated Eunuch Lu, but he did not dare to easily show it. Even if he did not believe that it was possible to kill him through the shadow, he could not casually attempt it. He still needed to pacify Wang Kai before he could slowly find a way to take back the shadow. Outside the cleansing dust department, when Wang Kai followed Eunuch Lu out with a pale face and weak legs, Xiao covered her nose tightly and glanced at Wang Kai's lower body. When she saw that the blood was still there, she was immediately disgusted and turned her head away with great sympathy. Let's go back to the overflowing fragrance garden and wait for the third princess's orders. Xiao said impatiently. You can't do that. He's just been cleansed and needs to stay by my side to remember the rules for eunuchs. Before Eunuch Lu could finish speaking, Wang Kai stopped him with a look. Eunuch Lu, what did you just say? Xiao turned around and asked in confusion. Eunuch Lu felt extremely helpless and terrified when he heard this. If Wang Kai returned to the overflowing fragrance garden and did something that should not happen between him and the third princess, and the warlord found out in the future, wouldn't he? But now, even if he felt extremely helpless, there was nothing he could do. No, nothing. I only hope that Xiao can let him recuperate before doing anything. Eunuch Lu waved his hand and said bitterly. Chapter 9:33. Hurry up. Do you want the honorable princess to wait for you? If you delay her training at the Warlord Martial Arts Club, you will be in deep trouble. Xiao's urging voice sounded from outside again. The impatience in her voice had become even more intense. In response, Wang Kai frowned and lowered his head to look at the tent. The corner of his mouth twitched speechlessly. If he went out like this, wouldn't he be exposed? What are you rushing me for? Just wait a moment. I've been up all night trying to comprehend the heavenly phenomenon, and I've discovered a great mystery. I'm afraid the War Emperor dynasty is going to be restless from now on. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and calmed his mind while dealing with the outside world. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to rank 2 chaotic martial ancestor realm. Nonsense! Now that you are a eunuch, how dare you speak such nonsense and speculate about the warlord dynasty? You have committed a crime punishable by death. Chao, who was outside the door, scolded Zhou Dongwang angrily. As a member of the warlord dynasty and the third princess personal maid, she did not want to hear Wang Kai's nonsense. What do you know? Do you think Ben Xiao is willing to tell you? Do you know that in this world, the number of people who want to ask this young master to do a divination is as numerous as the carps crossing the river? Innumerable. It is your fortune to be able to read the fortune of the warlord dynasty for free. Don't pretend to be innocent after taking advantage of me. Wang Kai frowned and snorted disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. You are a bastard. Xiaohua, come with me and teach him a lesson. Bang! Suddenly, the door was pushed open by Qiao. Together with Spirit Snake, she aggressively strode in. She pointed at Wang Kai and was about to scold him. However, before she could say anything, she was shocked by the scene in front of her. A certain part of Wang Kai's lower body was still protruding and looked extremely hideous. Qiao covered her mouth and pointed at Wang Kai's lower body. She screamed, "Your lower body? You're not. Shut up. Damn it." Hiss. Bang. In a moment of desperation, Wang Kai steeled his heart and directly jumped off the bed. With a wave of his hand, he sent the attacking spirit snake flying. Then, he pointed at Xiao's forehead. With one finger, Xiao's body stiffened and was fixed in place, unable to move at all. In the end, even her mouth was gagged by Wang Kai with a corner of the bedsheet. As for the spirit snake, it was not lightly beaten. After swaying a few times, it fainted on the spot. What are you staring at? Don't you? Do you think you can enter a man's room as you wish? Fortunately, this young master's willpower is strong enough, and his body is the hardest under the heavens. Otherwise, if I were to be scared to death by you, how would I be able to have fun with beautiful women in the future? Wang Kai frowned and coldly snorted. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching grade 3 chaotic martial ancestor realm. Woo woo woo. Woo woo woo. Ciao. Had a corner of the bedsheet in her mouth as she stood there motionlessly. It could be said that she could neither speak nor move her body. She could only stare and whimper incessantly. And you, little snake, how dare you attack Ben Xiao? Do you know that Ben Xiao is Nua's sworn brother? Wang Kai said with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Woo woo woo. However, the unconscious Ling, she did not hear what Wang Kai had said. Instead, Chao, who could not speak, was furious. In the chaotic realm, everyone knew that Nua was the oldest deity. She was even more honorable than the top powers of the great sage realm. However, Wang Kai had said that he was Nua's sworn brother. Such words were undoubtedly an insult to the honorable Nua. Why are you angry? Why are you angry? If you don't believe me, you can ask Sister Nua to come here and see if she recognizes me as her brother. Humph, Wang Kai said proudly with his hands behind his back. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching grade 4 chaotic martial ancestor realm. Host, your current cultivation level is not enough to provoke Nua. You must be careful with your words. Some things are better if you don't have to boast. As the system notification rang out, Wang Kai's mouth twitched violently. He could not help but break out in cold sweat. After apologizing to Nua in his heart, he did not dare to use her to brag anymore. After all, in the chaotic realm, there was even a great sage Pangdu. Who knew if Nua was there? If there was, wouldn't he be digging his own grave? Moreover, According to the system notification, there was an 80% chance that Nuwa existed. Stand here obediently. Bin Xiao, go and deal with your master first. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders. He flipped his hand and froze the Ling Shi in place. After doing all this, he broke open the door and left. In the depths of the overflowing fragrance garden, in a pavilion called the Fragrance Pavilion, the third princess was lying on her bed with a smug smile. Humph, let's see how I will deal with you this time. Thud. Just as she finished speaking, Wang Kai had already pushed open the door and walked in. Furthermore, his footsteps did not stop as he walked towards the third princess's bed. Looking at the transparent pink curtain, Wang Kai frowned and sneered disdainfully. Little girl, tell me, why did you ask me to come here? You? Whose grandfather are you? Pooh pooh pooh, you bastard. How dare you barge in without informing me? The third princess, who was lying on the bed, was so frightened that her face turned pale. She clutched the blanket tightly and sat up. She did not expect Wang Kai to be so bold as to barge in so brazenly. Did he really not know what the word princess meant? Inform your grandfather? Show me all your moves, or else you will say that Bin Xiao did not give you a chance. Wang Kai said calmly with his hands behind his back. Wang Kai, who was already a grade 4 chaotic martial grandmaster, did not need to be afraid of a little girl. You, hearing this, the third princess's beautiful eyes widened. Just as she was about to fly into a rage, her eyes suddenly lit up. She changed the topic and said with a smile, This princess almost forgot. You are now a eunuch. You can't do anything to this princess. Cough, cough. Humph. What do you want Bin Xiao to do to you? Bin Xiao doesn't care. It's better if you ask your mother to serve you. Even though the third princess stopped speaking in time, Wang Kai still understood what she meant and sneered with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Chapter 9:34. You. If I had known that you were not taken by Eunuch Lu, I would not have treated you that way. Furthermore, you were only a chaotic martial master yesterday. Why are you a chaotic martial ancestor today? Cough, cough. As she spoke, the third princess felt wronged. Her eyes turned red and she pouted. She started sobbing softly. That resentful look could be said to be pitiful. Indeed, if the third princess knew about it, nothing would have happened. Wang Kai might have been captured or even killed by the more powerful people in the palace. However, no matter what he said now, it was already too late. Haha, Bin Xiao has always been a chaotic martial ancestor. Furthermore, this is only the level that Bin Xiao is at. If I were to show my full strength, I would be able to defeat your father easily. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for making a breakthrough and reaching rank 6 chaotic martial ancestor. Keep bragging. The third princess pouted and snorted. She did not believe Wang Kai's nonsense. However, she knew that when Wang Kai was in the Warlord Martial Arts Club, he was only a chaotic martial master. Furthermore, when he returned to the palace, even Spiritual Snake could force him to go to Eunuch Lu. She could tell that before this, no matter how powerful Wang Kai was, he would not be a chaotic martial ancestor. Because of this, the third princess could not help but be shocked. Thinking about it carefully, it had only been a few hours, and Wang Kai was able to break through so quickly. Wang Kai's age did not match his chaotic martial master realm. After all, he was only a chaotic martial master in his 20s. In the Warlord Martial Dynasty, he could only be considered an inferior martial artist. For example, he was a fool who could be found everywhere. However, it seemed that he was extremely talented to be able to reach the chaotic martial ancestor realm in a few hours. Of course, there was another possibility. Wang Kai had been a primal chaos grandmaster since the beginning. He had always pretended to be weak in order to, although this possibility was not as terrifying as reaching the level of a primal chaos martial grandmaster in a few hours. a primal chaos martial grandmaster in his 20s, was still extraordinarily powerful. At least there wasn't a single one in the entire Battle Emperor dynasty. You used to be a primal chaos grandmaster, right? That must be it. You've been hiding it all this time just to get me. Now that you've gotten what you wanted, are you satisfied? The third princess pursed her thin red lips and said in a bitter tone. There was even a hint of pride in the third princess's beautiful eyes. For a genius like Wang Kai to spend so much effort to woo her, she felt honored. Indeed, if Wang Kai became the emperor's son-in-law, he would be praised by the entire dynasty. After all, a chaotic martial grandmaster in his 20s was ridiculously powerful. Don't be so smug. According to you, everything Bin Xiao did was designed to get you? Wang Kai frowned and said speechlessly, Isn't that the case? The third princess's beautiful eyes narrowed, and her pretty face was filled with fear. Seeing this, Wang Kai's mouth twitched, and he swallowed all the words he wanted to say. Now that he had taken her body, it would be inappropriate to say anything bad. Thinking of this, Wang Kai shrugged and reached out to pull the third princess into his arms. He said affectionately, That's right. Bin Xiao did plan everything to get you. However, Bin Xiao has never hidden his cultivation level. He did use a few hours to break through. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. According to Wang Kai's personality, he would lie when he needed to and boast when he needed to. Whoosh! However, when the third princess heard these words, her beautiful eyes widened. She covered her mouth tightly and was hugged in his arms. Her beautiful face was red as she said, Then you were really just a chaotic martial master before? God, you actually took such a big risk for me. The more she said, the more proud the third princess became. At the same time, she was deeply touched and scared. If Wang Kai had made a mistake and died, if he had died then, he wouldn't have had his way with me. However, if anyone dares to touch him now, I, Ling Fei, will be the first to stop them. The third princess thought to herself, Oh yes, I still don't know your name. Wang Kai touched his nose awkwardly. Both of them had done the deed, but he didn't know her name. This was indeed a little speechless. You don't even know my name? After the third princess recovered from her shock, she stared at Wang Kai angrily. In fact, all her previous guesses had been overturned. He didn't even know her name. How could he say that he had planned to woo her? Wasn't this nonsense? Who didn't know the name of the princess of the warlord dynasty? Bin Xiao, I really don't know your name. I just came out from the deep mountains. Before I came out, the dynasty was still surnamed Chun. I wanted to kill your father to avenge the Qin dynasty. However, I fell in love with you when I saw you yesterday. I decided to woo you, and we will protect the warlord dynasty together. Wang Kai was stunned for a moment before he explained with a straight face. His expression was sincere, and he spoke from the bottom of his heart. He didn't look like he was lying at all. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to rank 7 chaotic martial ancestor realm. Whoosh! When the third princess heard this, she was suspicious and did not believe it. However, when she saw Wang Kai's sincere expression, she had no choice but to believe him. After she believed him, she was moved beyond words. I didn't expect you to give up your country for me. I will definitely make you the emperor's son-in-law. Let's go and see my father now and tell him about us. With that, the third princess grabbed Wang Kai's sleeve and walked out. The corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched, and he quickly stopped her. What kind of joke was this? This kind of lie might be able to fool the third princess, who had just turned 18, but it would be strange if it could fool the War King dynasty's king. With her current cultivation level, she was no match for a chaotic martial king. Wouldn't she be courting death if she went? There's no rush. Although we have a real relationship now, we still need to get to know each other better. I'll give you some time to think about it. When you truly believe that Bin Xiao is your son of heaven, it won't be too late to make a decision. Bin Xiao is a gentleman, and he will always think for you. Wang Kai said seriously and affectionately. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Chapter 9:35. Upon hearing these words, the third princess was silent for a moment. Her beautiful eyes stared deeply at Wang Kai, and only after a long while did she speak in a serious and resolute manner. The fact that you can say such words proves that your love for me is real. Therefore, I can now decide that you are my true son of heaven. My name is Ling Fei, and I am the princess of the warlord dynasty. I will accompany you for the rest of your life until death. When she finished speaking, Wang Kai was stunned. Until death. Even if she died, her love would not disappear? Needless to say, this vow of love had moved Wang Kai. So much so that Wang Kai wanted to tell her everything about him and his close female friends. Fortunately, Wang Kai controlled himself. Otherwise, who knew if the third princess would immediately change her mind? After all, as the princess of the warlord dynasty, she must be proud. How could she allow her husband to have several wives? Ling Fei. Good names. Ben Xiao's name is Wang Kai. Wherever Ben Xiao is king. No matter how strong the enemy is, no matter how powerful the forces are, Ben Xiao will be able to survive. Wang Kai said proudly as he squinted his eyes. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching rank 8 chaotic martial ancestor realm. When he heard the notification, Wang Kai was satisfied. Rank 8 chaotic martial ancestor realm. With the help of the martial technique and the chaotic sky-swallowing halberd, he was invincible in the chaotic martial ancestor realm. Currently, the only person in the warlord dynasty that he could not defeat was the warlord king. Furthermore, now that he had the third princess, the warlord king was his father-in-law. In other words, he had nothing to fear. Wang Kai, I know your name. Let's go and meet my father. The third princess blinked her beautiful eyes and smiled sweetly. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai's expression stiffened. So, after all this talk, he still wanted to see the warlord? Even if he would become his father-in-law sooner or later, he still had to wait, right? What if the other party's attitude changed? Who knew what the War Monarch dynasty was like? Fairer, have you forgotten what Ben Xiao said just now? Wang Kai frowned and pretended to be serious. Whoosh! Seeing this, the third princess hurriedly hugged Wang Kai. Her pretty face was slightly red as she said in a low voice, Okay. I'll listen to my husband. Call me a few more times, Fei. My little Fei. When Wang Kai saw that the third princess had indeed been intimidated by his tough side, he felt slightly relieved. At least he still had some status. However, he couldn't go overboard, so he simply called out to her gently. Aya, you're so naughty. Let's go to the Warlord Martial Dojo. With me there, you can do whatever you want. Moreover, with your cultivation, you don't need to practice martial arts. Ling Fei said rather shyly. In response, Wang Kai gently nodded and smiled faintly. Coincidentally, Ben Xiao also wants to go there. He couldn't just let the matter of Grandmaster Wen's assassination go. If there was a grudge, he had to make it clear. The third princess, who was in a blissful mood, and Wang Kai, who didn't want to care about the immobilized Xiao and Ling Shi. The two of them lovingly left the overflowing fragrance garden. Only Xiao, and Ling Shi were left in Wang Kai's room, where they were locked down. At the Warlord Martial Dojo, when the third princess's sedan came to a stop, many disciples in the Martial Dojo rushed out to welcome her. Every one of them was the son of a wealthy family in Monarch City. They were all well-dressed and had an extraordinary aura. However, when Wang Kai and the third princess walked out of the sedan hand in hand, the entire place fell silent. All the disciples who came out to welcome them were stunned. Among them, a few disciples who were holding expensive jewelry accidentally loosened their grip, causing the jewelry to fall to the ground. Don't disturb me in the future. I'll take this opportunity to introduce you. This is Wang Kai. He is my husband and the prince consort of the warlord dynasty. You must treat him with respect in the future. You must treat him with more respect than me. Do you understand? The third princess hugged Wang Kai's arm and smiled as she gave the order. Her willowy eyebrows were curved from smiling. One could see how happy she was right now. What? Prince consort? Him? Isn't he just a servant? Third princess, you can't say that. That's right, that's right. He's just a servant. How is he worthy of you? Moreover, he killed 2 young masters of the Jean family yesterday. Even now, the Jean family want to kill him. In an instant, many disciples pointed at him and mocked him. Some even mustered up their strength and channeled their chaotic energy, wanting to attack Wang Kai. How dare you? I've already said that he's my husband. How dare you insult him like this? Do you want to die? And that Jean family don't think that they can do whatever they want just because they're one of the 4 aristocratic families in Monarch City. If they anger me, I'll wipe out their entire family. The third princess rebuked with her hands on her hips. Faced with the insults directed at Wang Kai, the third princess was so angry that her body was trembling. She was very unhappy. In her opinion, insulting Wang Kai was the same as insulting her. Wang Kai smiled faintly. He wasn't very angry. He had seen too many of such situations. If he were to get angry at all of them, wouldn't he die of anger? Third princess, you sure talk big. Whoosh! Suddenly, as a deep voice sounded, many martial arts club disciples became quiet. When they saw the person who had come, they all revealed smiles. On the other side of the street, there was a group of people walking quickly. The person who spoke was a middle-aged man. He had an extraordinary temperament and a handsome appearance. However, his brows were tightly furrowed, and his entire body was shrouded in murderous intent. The head of the Jean family, Zhang Qingxiao. The head of the Jean family, is a peak 9th grade chaotic martial grandmaster. This brat is dead. That's good. Let the third princess wake up. How can a mere servant be worthy of the prince consort of the royal family? The disciples sneered inwardly as they looked at Wang Kai gloatingly. What are you doing? Why aren't you backing down? The third princess's beautiful eyes narrowed. Her pretty face was grave as she reached out to protect Wang Kai. She stared coldly at Zhang Qingxiao and rebuked him. What am I doing? This brat killed my son yesterday. He must pay with his life. Zhang Qingxiao rebuked harshly. You, Fei, step back. What will come, will come. Before the third princess could speak, Wang Kai reached out and pulled her behind him. He turned to look at the head of the Zhang family and said indifferently, Your son was indeed killed by Ben Shao. He even killed 2 at once. However, that was an accident. If you want compensation, Ben Shao can give it to you. However, if you want to take Ben Shao's life, you are not qualified. Chapter 9:36. Whoosh! Such a scene directly shocked everyone. Everyone's eyes were wide open as they stared blankly, especially the disciples of the Battle Monarch Dojo. They were so shocked that their jaws almost fell to the ground. They could not believe that the master of the Jean family, a 9th grade chaotic martial grandmaster, could be slapped so hard by Wang Kai that he could not even fight back. Was this a dream? No, this can't be real. It must be an illusion. Yes, an illusion. Get lost. You are an illusion. Bang. One of the disciples of the Battle Monarch Martial Arts Club was sent flying into the air by Wang Kai's slap. Everyone looked up, but the disciple was nowhere to be seen. No one knew how high he had been sent flying. I did not take your master's life. When he wakes up, I will tell him that if he wants compensation, Ben Shao can give it to him. Furthermore, as long as it does not cross Ben Shao's bottom line, Ben Shao will do his best. However, if you try to act tough and take Ben Shao's life again, don't blame Ben Shao for being merciless. Get lost. Wang Kai frowned and waved his hand impatiently. Whoosh! Many of the Zhang family cultivators trembled when they heard this. They looked at Wang Kai as if they were looking at a demon. Without another word, they ran into the restaurant, picked up the unconscious Zhang Qingxiao, and ran away. Even the master of the Zhang family had been defeated. Who would dare to cause trouble for Wang Kai? Wouldn't that be courting death? You. The third princess stared at Wang Kai in a daze. Like everyone else, she was in disbelief. Although she knew that Wang Kai was a chaotic martial grandmaster, she did not expect him to be so strong that even Zhang Qingxiao, who had been a ninth-grade chaotic martial grandmaster for 10 years, was no match for him. What about me? Didn't Ben Xiao say it before? In this world, there are countless people who want to take Ben Xiao's life, but no one has ever succeeded. This is not bragging, but Ben Xiao has the terrifying power to destroy the world. Yes, it's true. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience and 2,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th level of the Chaotic Martial Grandmaster Realm. Host, Wang Kai Occupation, Chaotic Warrior Realm. Primal Chaos Martial Ancestor, 9th grade, Cultivation Method, Daluo Diamond Physique Martial Technique, Void Hand Equipment, Chaos Sky Devouring Halberd Bragging Points, 320 Experience, 05000 Wang Kai did not pay much attention to the system page that appeared in his mind when he heard the system notification. It was only a gain of 1,000 experience points, which was nothing compared to the current rewards. At the same time, Wang Kai was not very happy that he had reached level 9 of the Chaotic Martial Grandmaster Realm. Using weapons, martial arts techniques, and cultivation methods, he could surpass 3 small realms in fighting. Regardless of level 7 or level 9, the effect was the same. He still could not defeat a chaotic martial king. He was still the strongest in the Chaotic Martial Grandmaster Realm. Bastard! If you have such cultivation, why didn't you tell me earlier? You made me worry for nothing. Damn you. Go to hell. Humph. The third princess' eyes were spitting fire after her words sounded. Her pretty face was quite ugly as she turned around and walked into the Battle King dojo. She did not even turn her head back. She was really angry. Wang Kai was helpless. He touched his nose and did not know what to say. He had never said that he could not defeat Zhang Qingxiao. What are you all still looking at? And you, why are you glaring at Ben Xiao? Also, merit is not something that can be talked about, nor can it be used to kill people. This young master doesn't care if you kill other people, but if you want to cause trouble for this young master, then you have to pay with your life. Damn it, how unlucky. Get lost. After saying that, Wang Kai spat in disdain. He didn't care about the Zhan family's contributions at all. No matter who it was, as long as they wanted his life, they were just looking for trouble. As for the credit, it was for the Battle King dynasty. What did it have to do with him? Get out of the way. Many of the Battle King Martial Arts Club disciples hurriedly dodged to the side, as if they had seen a ghost. They were afraid that they would provoke Wang Kai and be sent flying with a slap. After all, the person who had been sent flying had not fallen yet. When he fell down, he would definitely be smashed into minced meat. Do you think you can flirt with the princess? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? Go home and train your courage before coming back to act tough in front of Ben Xiao. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled disdainfully. The crowd looked at Wang Kai's back and were speechless for a moment. Indeed, in a world where strength was everything, what was the use of being a hero? If one was not strong enough, no matter how great a hero was, no one would bother with him. Humph, let him be. When the warlord finds out about this, he will not let him off. That's right. The warlord knows the Zhan family's credit better than anyone else. At the same time, Wang Kai followed the angry third princess to the Battle King Martial Arts Club's B building. In the Battle King Martial Arts Club, there were 3 buildings, A, B, and C, which corresponded to the 3 cultivation realms. The weakest one was a chaotic martial disciple, a chaotic martial master, and a chaotic martial general. The number of people in each building was fixed. There were 130 people in each building, and a chaotic martial ancestor master would teach them cultivation experience. This was also why many cultivators outside could not enter, even if they queued up. The Battle King Martial Arts Club would only accept new disciples if they were short of 130. As a chaotic martial master, the third princess naturally had to come to the bee building. Her master in the bee building was Master One. When Master One comes later, you must not be rude to him. He is different from Zhan Qing Xiao. Although she was still angry, the third princess still pursed her red lips and reminded him softly. With regards to this, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and did not say anything. He gazed at the surrounding 100 disciples and saw that they were all hiding from him as if they had seen a ghost. For a moment, he could not help but feel secretly amused. It seemed like they had seen the scene outside the Battle King Martial Arts Club. In that case, Master One must know about it as well. He just didn't know if Master One would dare to make trouble for him again. Haha, Bin Xiao is looking forward to it. I hope he isn't a good-for-nothing. Forget it. Whether he wants to be a good-for-nothing or make trouble for Bin Xiao, he will not be able to escape death in the end. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered inwardly. Wang Kai naturally would not show mercy to an enemy who had killed him once. He would not show any mercy just because Master One was the third princess's master. I'm talking to you. Did you hear me? Master One is the second strongest person in the Battle King dynasty. Apart from my father, no one is his match. Even Zhan Qing Xiao, who you defeated, has to bow and greet him as Master One. The third princess frowned and reminded him again. She was afraid that Wang Kai would clash with Master One again. Chapter 9:37. Oh, that sounds pretty awesome. All right, Bin Xiao understands. Wang Kai smiled faintly and shrugged casually. The third princess frowned when she saw this. She stared at Wang Kai with her beautiful eyes and asked suspiciously, "Do you really understand what I mean? Why do you look like you don't understand at all?" Her attitude clearly showed that she did not think highly of Master One. She had said it casually to brush him off. Bin Xiao understands. Master One is the second most powerful person in the Warlord dynasty. Besides your father, no one is his match. Therefore, you want Bin Xiao to be more cautious and not provoke him, right? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled faintly. I'm relieved that you understand. The third princess secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Initially, she thought that Wang Kai would definitely go head-to-head with Master One. However, from the looks of it now, he should be safe and sound. Don't worry. Bin Xiao will beat him up gently. Perhaps he will give him a quick death. However, before the third princess could rejoice for too long, Wang Kai's next sentence blurted out. The third princess's beautiful eyes widened and her pretty face tensed up. She stared at Wang Kai, not knowing what to say for a moment. She was really choked by Wang Kai's words. Greetings, Master One. Suddenly, just as the third princess gritted her teeth and was about to continue persuading Wang Kai, the disciples in the B class all stood up and greeted him respectfully. Master One. The third princess's pretty face turned serious when she heard this. She hurriedly pulled Wang Kai up and looked at Master One, who had just walked in, and greeted him softly. All of you sit down. Although Master One was middle-aged, his refined aura was extremely outstanding. His face was also extraordinarily handsome. It was not difficult to guess that he must have been a gentleman when he was young. Third princess, please sit down. I've already said that you don't need to greet me. After the numerous disciples slowly sat down, Grandmaster One's gaze turned towards the third princess. With a faint smile, he waved his hand. Master One, you're too polite. The third princess did not refuse. As the princess of the War King dynasty, she indeed had the qualifications to do so. Even though the other party was her master, their statuses were different. Everything had to be done according to the rules of the War King dynasty. Of course, the third princess still had to be respectful towards Master One. She still had to stand up and greet him. Their relationship could be said to be one of mutual respect. Sit down. Wang Kai stood there and stared at Grandmaster One. At the same time, Grandmaster One also stared at Wang Kai. The two of them looked at each other normally, but the atmosphere was a little strange. This situation made the third princess even more worried. She kept tugging at Wang Kai's sleeve with small movements. Heroes come from young. You have the ability to defeat the Zhan family's patriarch. yet you're willing to accompany the third princess to the B class. You're not bad. Sit down. Master Wen smiled warmly. He didn't seem to be dissatisfied with Wang Kai at all. Compared to before, he was like a completely different person. Even Wang Kai secretly found it strange. He secretly wondered if this was still the same Master Wen who went to the inn to kill him yesterday. Hee hee. I can only say that you're very good at pretending. Thinking of this, Wang Kai pursed his lips and ignored Master Wen. He sat down on the chair and crossed his legs. Damn this guy. Does he really want to have a showdown with Master Wen? Seeing this, the third princess was extremely helpless. She could only smile apologetically at Master Wen. If Master Wen was dissatisfied with Wang Kai's provocation, this battle would definitely start. He has such a high cultivation at such a young age. It's natural that he's young and impetuous. It's fine. Princess, you don't have to worry. Master Wen smiled warmly. His expression was full of tolerance and magnanimity. There was no trace of displeasure at all. In this way, he won the respect of many disciples and made them secretly dislike Wang Kai. However, they couldn't defeat Wang Kai and could only secretly despise him in their hearts. Little did they know that if they knew that Master Wen was faking it and that he had killed Wang Kai before, who knew what they would think? Standing in different positions, naturally, they would have different thoughts. Even if Wang Kai knew that they were hostile to him, he couldn't be bothered to deal with them. After all, they didn't know the truth. If there was a reckless guy who stood up and pretended to be tough, he would teach him a lesson and not let him get away with it. Husband, don't make a fuss, okay? After father finds out about Zhang Qingxiao, we don't know how he will treat you. If you provoke Master Wen again. The third princess's beautiful eyes were full of worry as she secretly reminded him. Hearing this, Wang Kai couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. It seemed that he was really weak and couldn't do anything. No matter what he did, he had to be careful and vigilant. Host. Wang Kai occupation. Chaotic martial artist realm. Chaotic martial ancestor. Grade 9. Cultivation technique. Daluo diamond body martial technique. Void hand equipment. Chaotic sky swallowing halberd bragging points. 320 experience. 05000 inch 5000 experience, which means that I have to brag at least 3 times to reach the chaotic martial king realm, plus the ability to fight enemies 3 levels above me. After casually glancing at it, Wang Kai activated his mind power and closed it. He secretly asked, "What grade of chaotic martial king is your father? How many chaotic martial kings do you know?" "Why are you asking this?" The third princess, who was on tenterhooks, was also stunned by the question. Grade 7. In the king's territory, in addition to my father, there is also Wang Shang from the Fire Dynasty. Like my father, he is also a grade 7 chaotic martial king. What do you want to do? The third princess asked even more worriedly. It was bad enough that he was going against the strongest chaotic martial ancestor, Master Wen, but now he was asking about the stronger chaotic martial king realm? What exactly was Wang Kai thinking? The more the third princess thought about it, the more exhausted she felt. Wang Kai was really too worrisome. Perhaps I should have known that he would not be easy to deal with right from the beginning. In the end, the third princess could only laugh bitterly in her heart. Grade 7 chaotic martial king. King's territory? Wang Kai did not respond to the third princess, nor did he listen to Master Wen, who was explaining his martial arts experience. I have to at least be a grade 4 chaotic martial king before I can be invincible in this so-called king's territory. Wait a minute. Chaotic martial ancestor realm martial arts techniques and weapons can kill enemies beyond my level. What about king's territory? Could it be possible? If it is possible, with that thought, Wang Kai made up his mind. No matter what, he had at least reached the chaotic martial king realm first. What kind of territory is the king's territory? In this chaotic realm, other than the king's territory, what other territories are there? Are they more powerful? Wang Kai frowned and asked in confusion. You don't know these? After hearing the voice transmission, the third princess was stunned and looked at Wang Kai in a daze. Chapter 9:38. The corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched. If he knew, would he still need to ask? Bin Xiao naturally knows. I'm just testing you by asking you. You need to know that as Bin Xiao's wife, you must know a lot. Otherwise, how can you be worthy of a handsome young man like Bin Xiao? Wang Kai shrugged and pretended to be mysterious. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Upon hearing that, the third princess pursed her red lips and her beautiful eyes were full of disdain. No matter how she looked at it, Wang Kai was definitely bragging. I already believe that you came out from the deep mountains and forests. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so isolated. Did you jump out from a crack in a rock? Ever since you were born, you have never left the deep mountains and forests, and no one told you about the outside world? The third princess was speechless. They were shocked by the extent of Wang Kai's confinement. If he didn't even know the history of the place where he lived, how was he any different from a savage? Get lost. You're the one who jumped out from a crack in a rock. This young master's parents are famous and powerful people, especially my grandfather. He only needs to stomp his feet, and the entire chaotic realm will tremble. Wang Kai said with a rather proud look on his face. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. He really knows how to brag. The third princess secretly despised him. Although she didn't want to answer, she was now Wang Kai's woman. Don't talk about the chaotic realm in the future. This is indeed the chaotic realm, but we call it the origin continent. The place where we are now is called the King's Territory, which is ruled by 2 dynasties, each occupying half of the country. As the name suggests, the strongest realm in the King's Territory can only be the chaotic martial king realm. Outside the King's Territory is the cultivation world. Although there are also dynasties and even empires there, their realms are extremely terrifying. Even a vanguard can easily destroy the King's Territory. Of course, the most powerful forces there are still sects and other forces. They don't want to occupy territory, but rather cultivate and seek the Tao. Meanwhile, dynasties and empires want to rule, so the flames of war between the 2 sides are endless. Yes, that's what Grandmaster once said. His origin is very mysterious. Even my father, the king, treats him as an honored guest. Although he can't defeat my father, his identity. All right, you don't have to say anymore. As the third princess narrated, Wang Kai listened with great interest. However, in the end, it became a topic to persuade him not to be enemies with Master Wen. For a moment, Wang Kai couldn't bear to listen anymore. So what if Grandmaster Wen's background was mysterious? Those who offended him had to pay the price. I don't care who you are if you don't like it. Just do it. There are all kinds of forces in the cultivation world, such as empires, kingdoms, sects, and so on. Any vanguard can destroy the king's territory. Wang Kai furrowed his brows as he secretly pondered. He felt that something was not quite right. After pondering for a long while, he finally understood. Immediately, he transmitted his voice and asked, since the strongest forces in the cultivation world are the sects and other factions that only seek the Tao for cultivation, why are they still evenly matched in the war with the empires? I don't know. I want to go. Who asked you to be so fierce to me just now? The third princess tilted her head and pouted. Wang Kai secretly felt a headache coming on. However, he had a favor to ask of her and had no choice but to lower his head. Ah, my little Fei, Ling Feier, hurry up and tell me. I'll dote on you tonight. Why don't we Wang Kai squinted and secretly reached out to press his hand on the third princess' leg. I'm telling you, don't mess around. The third princess' body trembled, and she hurriedly sent a voice transmission to stop him while blushing. She grabbed Wang Kai's hand tightly and refused to let him move. Oh, go ahead then, my little baby, Wang Kai said with a teasing smile. Detestable fellow. The third princess almost fell into Wang Kai's arms after hearing him call her baby. If it weren't for the fact that there was someone beside them, she would have snuggled into Wang Kai's arms and acted coquettishly. The reason why the 2 sides can't decide the winner is naturally because there are a lot of empires and dynasties. They may not all be enemies and keep each other in check. The third princess gritted her teeth and said, "Is that really the case?" Wang Kai wasn't surprised to hear this. He had asked this question because the third princess had implied that the empire and the sects didn't share the same Tao. That was why he had mistakenly believed that the two sides wouldn't form an alliance. Now, it seemed that there would be collusion everywhere. There were no absolute enemies, and, similarly, there were no absolute friends. Everything was just for the sake of benefits. What do chaotic martial masters cultivate? Wang Kai, why don't you explain it to us? Suddenly, Master Wen's voice rang out, causing everyone to look at Wang Kai. When they saw that the third princess was blushing and Wang Kai was smiling, they all gritted their teeth in anger and were secretly jealous. Why would she be shy when she was listening to a lecture? Needless to say, Wang Kai must have done something to the princess secretly. Master Wen is calling you. Get up quickly. The third princess reminded him softly. In response, Wang Kai frowned and crossed his legs. With a disdainful sneer, he said, "You don't even know such a simple question. Are you stupid? If you have to ask Ben Xiao about everything, then, when you're having fun with your wife at night, shouldn't Ben Xiao help you do some labor?" Whoosh! As soon as he said that, everyone was shocked. The third princess was stunned. Many of the disciples were stunned. Even Grandmaster Wen was stunned on the spot. His eyes were wide open, and he was a little dumbfounded. No one had expected that Wang Kai's answer would actually be this. Even though they knew that Wang Kai was a lawless person, they did not expect him to dare to challenge Master Wen, the second most powerful person in the Warlord dynasty. Even Wang Shang had to treat him like a distinguished guest. Moreover, he was so direct and did not bother to hide his insults. What are you all standing there for? Did Ben Xiao say anything wrong? As the master of the Warlord Martial Arts Club, he is reputed to be the second most powerful person in the Warlord dynasty. How can he ask Ben Xiao what a chaotic martial master should cultivate? F***CK. No matter how charming and talented Ben Xiao is, he shouldn't answer every stupid question, right? Wang Kai shrugged and waved his hand disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to rank 1 Chaotic Martial King. Host, Wang Kai Occupation, Chaotic Martial Artist Rank. Chaotic Martial King Rank 1 Cultivation Technique. Daluo Diamond Body Martial Technique. Void Hand Equipment. Chaos Sky Swallowing Halberd Bragging Points. 380 Experience. 10005,000. Chapter 9, 39. B asterisk starred. Master Wen asked you because you are the most powerful and have surpassed the chaotic martial master. Apologize to Master Wen. The third princess regained her senses and lowered her head to look at Wang Kai, who was lying on the chair. She scolded him and kept winking at him anxiously. She was afraid that Master Wen would get angry and attack Wang Kai. If that happened, everything would be over. Moreover, given how Wang Kai had offended Master Wen, even if he was killed, no one would say anything. After all, Master Wen was the second most powerful person in the Warlord dynasty. If the Warlord dynasty heard about how Wang Kai had insulted Master Wen, even if Master Wen did not attack Wang Kai, the Warlord dynasty would kill him on his behalf. What's the hurry? What's there to be afraid of? I, Wang Kai, am the most skilled in martial arts. I have only ever punished others. How could I be punished by others? As for those who pretend to be a gentleman on the surface, but do bad things behind my back, they won't have the chance. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Pretend to be a gentleman on the surface, but do bad things behind my back? With that, the third princess narrowed her eyes. She could tell that Wang Kai was implying something. Based on the current situation, he was undoubtedly referring to Grandmaster Wen. Could it be that Master Wen had really done something to Wang Kai behind his back? Otherwise, why would he offend Master Wen in such a rage? As the saying goes, there is a cause and there is an effect. The third princess understood this. However, it was not the time to explain this. Haha, it seems that Wang Kai is in a bad mood today. Never mind, third princess, bring him back to rest. After all, he is a chaotic martial grandmaster at his age. He is the future pillar of the warlord dynasty. Before the third princess could say anything, Master Wen waved his hand and smiled calmly. He was not angry, and instead, he seemed to admire Wang Kai as if he would forgive him no matter what he did. Many disciples could only grit their teeth in jealousy. Their jealousy towards Wang Kai had reached an extreme. They thought that Master Wen would punish Wang Kai angrily, and it would be best if he killed him. However, he did not punish him and even praised him. Damn it! Chaotic martial grandmaster realm. How did he reach it? The disciples were jealous but helpless. Everyone knew that Wang Kai's cultivation realm, a chaotic martial grandmaster, was the second most powerful in the warlord dynasty and even the entire king's territory. Besides, there were only two so-called strongest people in the king's territory. One was the Flame King, and the other was the War King. Realm Grandmaster Wen and Lord Wen's. Master Wen's. Do you mean that Ben Shao is sick in the head? A little grandson, you've got guts. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled coldly. Whoosh! As soon as he said that, the corners of all the disciples' mouths twitched. Even Grandmaster Wen's face turned green at that moment. They didn't expect Wang Kai to be so ungrateful. The third princess had a bitter expression on her face. She even had the thought of dying. She really couldn't understand Wang Kai's unruly character, who didn't know what it meant to take a step back at all, but she had no choice but to endure it. Wang Kai, come back to the palace with me. Left with no other choice, the third princess could only put on the airs of a princess and stare at Wang Kai with her beautiful eyes. Wang Kai wanted to take the opportunity to show off his masculinity, but when he saw the tears in the third princess' eyes, his heart softened. If this were to go on, the third princess would probably be heartbroken. Yes, you're very lucky, but you won't be so lucky every time. Next time, be careful not to appear in front of Ben Shao. Wang Kai squinted and sneered. He then got up and followed the third princess out. The third princess felt helpless about the fact that she had to teach Grandmaster Wen a lesson before she left. She could only smile apologetically at Grandmaster Wen before she pulled Wang Kai and left quickly. Void Hand! Buzz! However, just as they were leaving the B class, Wang Kai swiped his palm slightly and clenched it into a fist before pulling it back forcefully. Thud! Crack! With a loud sound, Master Wen lost his balance and fell on the long table, smashing it into pieces. Master Wen's pupils suddenly shrank and his heart was extremely cold. Behind the other disciples, he looked coldly at Wang Kai. His ankle had suddenly been strangely bound. That feeling was similar to being grabbed by a hand. However, when he realized it, it was already too late. His leg was pulled back, causing him to lose his balance and fall. Regarding this, the first person Master Wen suspected was naturally Wang Kai. Although he did not know where the power came from, he knew that the only person in the B class who could do such a thing was Wang Kai, who was also at the chaotic martial ancestor realm. I don't care what you're up to. As long as you dare to come, Ben Shao will dare to destroy you. Oh, that's not right. Whether you come or not, Ben Shao will definitely destroy you. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and sneered. What are you looking at? Why aren't you leaving? I don't want you to be framed. The third princess tugged hard at Wang Kai's sleeve and reminded him in a low voice. Wang Kai was secretly amused. There was no need to frame him. He had indeed done it. The Void Hand could kill an enemy in the void without the enemy noticing. Such a martial technique was naturally amazing. However, from the third princess's words, it was not difficult to tell that she already believed Wang Kai's intentions. She was eager to know what Master Wen had done to Wang Kai behind his back. Wang Kai also felt gratified that the third princess believed in him unconditionally. He thought to himself that they were indeed a family. Master Wen, after Wang Kai and the third princess left, many disciples stood up and looked at the dirty Master Wen. They wanted to laugh, but did not dare to. Naturally, They did not think that someone had sneakily attacked Masterwind. After all, Masterwind had always been revered as a deity. He had fallen because he was distracted by Wang Kai. Masterwind, you don't have to be so forgiving. There are some shameless people. It's useless to be forgiving. Yes, that's right. It's a pity that my cultivation level is low. Otherwise, I would definitely teach that maniac a lesson. When Masterwind heard the words of the disciples, his face turned pale. In the end, he had fallen because he was distracted. He had been attacked secretly by Wang Kai, but he could not say it out loud. It could be said that he had suffered unspeakable bitterness. Why is he not dead? How did he reach the chaotic martial grandmaster level? What kind of martial arts did he use just now? Who exactly is he? Why did he hook up with the third princess? Damn it. No matter what, for the sake of the Fire King dynasty, he must not live. Masterwind's face was cold as he roared in his heart. Chapter 940. In the overflowing fragrance garden, the third princess brought Wang Kai back quickly. She did not even use a palanquin. She used her cultivation all the way. Tell me, what did Masterwind do to you? In the room, the third princess sat on a chair. She frowned and asked worriedly, provoking a powerful enemy like Masterwind. If one was not careful, they would definitely die without a burial ground. Nothing much. He secretly tried to assassinate Ben Shao. If Ben Shao was not powerful enough, he would have died in his hands. Wang Kai shrugged and said simply, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience points and 20 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and reaching rank 2 chaotic martial king. What? Masterwind tried to assassinate you? What the hell is going on? Tell me quickly." Bang! Hearing this, the third princess's face changed. She slammed the table and stood up. I'm afraid it's because of you." Wang Kai was helpless. He could only tell the third princess about how he had offended Masterwind when they first met at the rockery, and how he had tried to assassinate Masterwind in the end. Of course, in the end, Wang Kai had been successfully assassinated by Masterwind. He had just come back from the dead. He would not tell the third princess about this. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing. I know. After hearing this, the third princess did not suspect Wang Kai. Instead, she fell on the chair and was in a daze. No one knew what she was thinking. What do you know? You believe Ben Shao's one-sided story? Wang Kai frowned and smiled in surprise. You're my husband, the prince consort of the warring dynasty. If I don't believe you, who will? The third princess pouted and snorted in displeasure. Wang Kaisen could not help but be surprised when he saw that the third princess was still worried, even though she had come back to her senses. Could it be that Masterwind has taken a fancy to you? So that's why you wanted to kill Ben Shao that day? Wang Kai's eyes widened and his face instantly darkened. If that was really the case, Wang Kai would not hesitate at all. He would directly kill his way back to the Battle Monarch Dojo and wipe out Masterwind. Nonsense. He just doesn't want us to have a bad reputation and ruin his matchmaking. The third princess pursed her red lips and said with an ugly expression, "Matchmaking?" Wang Kai was startled when he heard this. His face turned ashen as he sneered. He must be tired of living. He even dares to act as a matchmaker for Ben Shao's woman? Who are you protecting? Crown Prince of the Fire King dynasty, Yan Heng. The third princess replied through gritted teeth. Seeing that Wang Kai's expression was not right, she hurriedly added, "Don't worry, I haven't agreed, and neither is father." What a joke. So what if he agrees? As long as Ben Shao is unhappy, not to mention Masterwind, even the Fire King dynasty will be wiped out. That Crown Prince, Fire King, and others will all be chopped into pieces. Wang Kai curled his lips and sneered with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 2,000 experience and 20 bragging points. Wait, that's not right. Didn't your elder sister, the eldest princess, already marry the crown prince of the Fire King dynasty 4 years ago? Wang Kai frowned and asked in confusion. Hearing this, the third princess's beautiful eyes narrowed and her pretty face turned even uglier. She gritted her teeth and snorted. That's why I didn't agree. I can't wait to kill that crown prince Yin Hung. Pooh, that's not right. Even if he didn't marry my elder sister, I still wouldn't agree. Don't misunderstand. Bin Xiao has never liked to be jealous. Furthermore, what happened before had nothing to do with Bin Xiao. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled helplessly. However, he was becoming more and more curious about Master Wen. He was clearly a member of the Warlord dynasty, but he was acting as a matchmaker for the Fire King dynasty. Furthermore, he wanted to marry the third princess to the eldest princess's husband. Wasn't this an insult to the Warlord dynasty's reputation? Where did he get the courage to bring this up? He had already brought it up, but the Warlord dynasty didn't take his life. How strange. Don't provoke Master Wen again. Although I don't know why Father tolerates him, there must be some secret behind it. If Father doesn't want me to interfere, you can't interfere either. The third princess pursed her red lips and reminded him. What secret could there be? From the looks of it, the Warlord dynasty must have been threatened and had no choice but to let Master Wen go. As for how Master Wen threatened the Warlord dynasty, Wang Kai couldn't think of anything. I don't care about this nonsense. However, Master Wen must die. Tonight he must die. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent expression. Swoosh. The third princess was shocked when she heard this. She hurriedly stood up and reprimanded him. You still don't understand. Didn't I tell you not to provoke him? If you die, you what? Don't worry, you'll find out tonight. Even if I don't kill him, he will come and kill Bin Xiao. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. What? The third princess was stunned when she heard this. Soon after, she grabbed Wang Kai's sleeve and solemnly said, Come, let's go see Father. In the Warlord dynasty, only Father can. That's enough. Your father can't even protect himself. Moreover, Bin Xiao doesn't need anyone's help. Master Wen is nothing in Bin Xiao's eyes. Wang Kai waved his hand and said casually, What a joke. How much trouble could a mere grade 9 chaotic martial ancestor cause? She was now a chaotic martial king. Oh, that's right. Chow, asked her to find General Dong Lu and let him guard the overflowing fragrance garden. I have saved General Dong Lu's life before, so he won't tell Father. Suddenly, the third princess's face lit up with joy and she walked out. Wang Kai frowned when he heard this, and he was puzzled in his heart as well. Who was the great general of the Eastern Foothill? He naturally never seen or heard of him. Moreover, Master Wen was the second most powerful person in the Warlord dynasty. Other than the Warlord dynasty, who could do anything to him? What was the use of calling him over? He might even lose his life. Where's Chow? The third princess stopped in her tracks, regained her senses, and stared at Wang Kai as she asked. Only then did she realize that ever since she sent Chow to look for Wang Kai until now, she had not seen her. She is in my room. In order to prevent her from ruining things, Bin Xiao has locked her in place. You can go now. Bin Xiao will let her go. Wang Kai waved his hand and said helplessly. Since the third princess was determined to find General Dong Lu, he would let her. He could not be bothered to stop her or persuade her. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.